That sound like video game music.
Yeah. Look, smart chick dumb. Say she wanna smoke, baby, roll one. Oh, you can't roll, baby, pack one. We gon' keep smoking till the sack done. Oh yeah, hella chronic and my hyperbolic. Time chamber, yeah, I'm feeling brolic like Goku when he fighting Broly. Peppermint green Maserati. When I'm trying to get, I know God got me. God sinner, yeah, I'm God body. I'm a pothead up in Potter's house. Glasses on, trying to spot a hottie. No Sue, woo, blue Denali. We was 4 deep, me and my crew from college. Running through, boy, I called it Charlie. Gangsta like opponent got it. Up early with the birds. See, I'm really trying to get this thing moving. See, the money playing probably seem Jewish. Got the upper hand, got the theme music. Got the Dapper Dan jean stitch. Dripping water, yeah, seem fluid. You a Kappa king snitch. Self-esteem foolish, really need improving. Let me show you how to do it. Ain't no carbon copy, ain't no duplicate. I control minds 4 states away. Get the party popping for my crew and fresh out the shower, yeah, pimp coat be my bathrobe. I ain't new to this. Taking flights and catching Uber. Blowing kisses to the stewardess.
Good weed too strong. Got a bad hair too long. You can fly like 2 Jones. Never leave the house without the too long. Need a new coupe with the roof gone. One for me, one for mama, need 2 homes. Never leave the house without the too long. Never leave the house without the too long. Yeah, good weed too strong. Got a bad hair too long. Young fly like 2 Jones. Never leave the house without the too long. Need a new coupe with the roof gone. One for me, one for mama, need 2 homes. Never leave the house without the too long. Never leave the house without the too long. Yeah, good weed too strong. Got a bad hair too long. Young fly like 2 drones. Never leave the house without the too long. Haters cut it out like a coupon. I'm on top of the green like I'm a crouton. My young told me get a hand bone. I told him that I'd rather have a cube on. Listen. Hey, it's been a good day. I had to put that ice cube on. Got a bad looking like a cube on. Smoke a big whistle like a cube on. Keep winning, y'all lose on. You know if it's me, it's you, homie. Cross me, I'ma get my Uncle Drew on. You know murder is an art, you get Drew on. Me and Q-type get 2 bones. Smoke a whole 56, 2 zones. One for me, one for mama, need 2 homes. Try to stop, get a tombstone. Get ghosts just to see what you poo on. More kids in the mouth than a group home. As a kid, all I wanted was a coupe on dubs just to pull it off the lot with the roof gone. Good weed too strong. Got a bad hair too long. Young fly like 2 Jones. Never leave the house without the too long. Need a new coupe with the roof gone. One for me, one for mama, need 2 homes. Never leave the house without the too long. Never leave the house without the too long. Yeah, good weed too strong. Got a bad hair too long. Young fly like 2 Jones. Never leave the house without the too long. Need a new coupe with the roof gone. One for me, one for mama, need 2 homes. Never leave the house without the too long. Never leave the house without the too long. Yeah.
Can you feel it? I can feel it. I can feel it. It starts in my head. And it starts to move on down to my stomach. It makes me feel all good inside.
Wait, I stay on mute. That's DQ Hampton, y'all. And yeah. Before we start the show, one more thing for y'all, just because we want to support. You always gonna be a pseudo killer official, you know what I'm saying? It's blood in around here, gang, but go off.
Let's talk money. Let's talk money. Let's talk money. Let's talk money. Let's talk money.
Hey.
Let's talk money.
Yeah.
Let's talk money. Let's talk money.
Yeah.
Let's
Check.
talk money. Let's
Look.
talk money.
Paper chasing, racing to $1 million. Why you out here faking for 1 million followers? Hit the liquor store, baby, refill the bottle. So we're getting throw from a Brazilian model. That's me. Can't copy my steps, baby, I'm hard to follow. Lost City of Gold, Dallas, Eldorado. 4 or 5 packs, we gon' mix and match it. Vacuum to the one, then we send the package. Alright, incentivize. How my inner thoughts turn to an enterprise. Easy to enter her inner thighs. Boy, she hypnotized. Sadly mistaken, I've been a vibe. Plus I'm monetized. 50 to 20, 10 to the...
Yeah. I don't know why I cut off like that. I ain't do it. Maybe you gotta send it to me one more time, DQ. I don't know why it light up, but yeah, we just want to give some shout out to DQ for the awesome music, for like letting us use the music, for writing us our own personal hits. You feel me? First time I've ever been to rap song, and I'm just so honored. Thank you. But before we get it off, go ahead and like the show, share the show. I done already put the link in once. I'm putting it again. Y'all go ahead and hit that link. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about for this fire show we just had with Dr. Andy Thomson. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, I'm just like, wow. Yeah, I'm just so excited. That was dope. So, oh, here we go. Pseudo Kill Official, Kent Clark in the building. Aye.
Peace.
We
Peace,
got the go ahead, Kent. I just want to call it the Black Widow. Hey.
peace. Going on,
um,
man?
Go ahead, say your piece, fam. Thank y'all for coming. Not leaving me
Oh,
hanging by
man, I
myself.
just clicked the link. I don't even know what y'all was on right now, just now. But hey, how everybody doing? I see y'all for 5-6 minutes in. So, man, that was a great show that we just witnessed earlier,
Yeah,
man. I'm glad we was able to get him in, man. Like I said, I wanted to be a part 2, 3, 4, and
right,
be a series of that, because
right.
that's a real interesting conversation for me. So I'm just glad that we was able to even have that. But how
Facts.
everybody doing, yo? Peace to the panel.
Thank you. Yeah, this is the after show from the Dr. Andy Thompson interview that we just had on Community of Skeptics. For those of y'all, because I kind of set it up and just put start. Like I wanted to keep the momentum going. So yeah, here we go. Black Widow, Pseudo Killer Official. Holla at the people. Sis.
Hey, y'all. What's
Hey
up?
y'all.
Who's
Great.
this is on the panel?
Huh?
Who is that just got on up here?
I think that was Chilemwe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Chilemwe. We got Gideon,
I don't see names.
Brass,
All right.
everybody. Yeah, that's who it is, though.
All righty, let's do it. I'm looking for Ron. Where's Ron at?
Man, Ron said he need to go see the ACC games or something. So he was going to check us out later. He'd been out like 30, 45 minutes ago. Yeah. So, he done did his Palm Sunday. Yeah, you know it, Chef Fran. He done did his Palm Sunday thing. He done had his family dinner. So, yeah, that's what it is. I even know it was Palm Sunday. I guess I should have went to church today, Miss Tiffany, because we dang sure talked about it. I'd be like, dang, I totally forgot.
I just wanted to say that the question about slavery was always a part of this discussion. We've been having this discussion for, I don't know, has it been 3 or 4 months?
Yeah.
So no, we didn't decide to interject, or Logic didn't decide to just happenly interject the slavery question today for our guest.
It's
So
part of the conversation.
Stop it with the made up stuff in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah, she go back Logic. Wait a minute, kid. Hold on. Oh, I don't want y'all to start boxing yet. Hold on.
No, I don't even want to box. I mean,
no, I know. I'm just being funny.
Clear on it. I mean, in the deterministic world, I mean, shoot, reparations, run that check. That's simple.
Run that check.
Easy.
For real. But shout out. You know how we do it. Pseudo Killer Official Chilemwe. Go ahead and holler at the people real quick so I can get in Pseudo Killer Army General and Gideon.
Yeah. Peace to the chat and to the panel. I think it was an excellent show. Really enjoyed it. What I think is most impressive is that it's right along with the conversations that we've been having right in the Discord, and that just shows that people are really intent on studying and learning and see what the science say, where the science is at that very moment, at this very moment in time. So I really appreciate that.
Awesome facts. And I want to say to you and Logic, Chilemwe, amazing job. You feel me? I mean, phenomenal. Like that's actually like top tier, top level right there. And y'all had confirmation from an expert himself. So I mean, that's what more can you ask for, right? And I would say, even though I don't agree with the position, you know what I'm saying? And maybe Logic was really excited, but I, just don't be We ain't even get into that, but he was cooking. He really was cooking. You feel me? So gotta get him on that. Brass, pseudo killer army
Cooking with
general.
light.
Highlight the people real quick. Sorry, I just saw Bobby Benton come
It's
in. But
boiling water. He wasn't no grease though. It was boiling water.
It was boiling water, yeah.
no,
It was
I
supposed
wasn't
to be.
I say cooking water, but I'm not gonna.
lukewarm grease. You know how you throw your fries in the
I'm gonna
grease,
leave
yo, they don't
it,
get
I'm gonna leave it
crispy. It's
alone.
right there, yo.
I'm gonna leave it alone. You feel
He did
me?
his thing, though. He did his thing. I
He did
appreciate
his
his.
thing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, good. You was calling on Brass. Let me shut up. Go ahead.
That's okay. I mean,
Brass
you know
in
what I'm saying.
here.
I saw
Brass in
you
here.
when I called his name. But yeah, go ahead,
We
Brad.
seen Brass try to frame that shit. You caught me,
Oh,
Brass. You
Brass
lucky
in
you
here.
framed it first, goddamn it. You lucky you framed it first, because I was coming with the ultra
Oh,
frame.
yeah.
You
Okay.
lucky.
Yeah.
You lucky. I'm
He-
gonna let you go.
Y'all wild. They ain't even
You
see
lucky
me.
you
Y'all
framed it.
come
I'm like,
in
okay, I'm
hot.
gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go, Brass, because I was gonna ultra frame the situation. You gonna think you was back in the 40s by the time I finished framing it too.
Oh man, that's
Oh man.
funny. But go ahead,
Now
bro.
fired up. Always appreciate the opportunity. Uh, I think the conversation, what it does is, and it's selfishly, and I'm gonna go ahead and say arrogantly, it shows that what we're doing here, we're on the right path as far as from what I see. Because a lot of the stuff that he was talking about, we've discussed on the Brain Show for the past 4 months.
Correct.
The different experiments and things that he was talking about, and the fact that we're naming books. It's cool. And I know this is arrogant, but just to
No,
be
go ahead
honest,
with the
no, it
arrogant
is.
stuff. I
It's
like
cool that
it. Come on.
it's cool that like we're
We
reading books
conceded.
that we're reading books that he hasn't read, and
Correct.
that we're looking at things from a frame that he hasn't necessarily read, and that I heard him say that he has to force people to have these conversations in his circles. Like they don't have them; they just won't.
Right.
They don't sit around and talk about it. And the funny thing is, and this is the arrogant part, we literally talk about these things in our spare time, not publicly on YouTube, when we could be talking about anything else, all these other conversations, this, that, and the other. We've spent months chatting and having, and I don't care how many times people hear us say it, but those voice chats get contentious, but they really are high level conversations. So I just want to say thank y'all to PK. I mean, thank you to Andy also, but thanks to the Discord and the people within the Discord. It just shows that even though we get frustrated sometimes, we're definitely on the right path.
Roger that. Go ahead, God Killer. You in the building.
Imagine a world, yo, where I controlled the whole thing and all we talked about was Black Egypt and Dr. Ben. Because it was left to me, I stay on these niggas' heads
Mm-mm.
10 years straight if it was left to me. But that's why it's important, you know what I mean, to have other comrades, man, to join you in the struggle. And I always felt like it was important to diversify the conversation, but still stay on the track. So I think at this point, man, we've done a great job at that. Nobody's playing expert. Nobody's acting like they something they not, man. And that's always been a problem I had in the past, man. Felt like I had a great team with the Amaral squad, but
Mm-hmm.
the religion got in the way, and it was deaf to expertise, man. And that kind of forwarded the mission a little bit, man.
Oh
I appreciate the foundation that the Amaral squad laid, yo, but they couldn't go. You know what I'm saying? And so, everybody don't have these experiences like this, man, to develop groups, man, and work through them. You know what I'm saying? With other human beings, man, and some win, some lose, you end up falling out and all that. But it's the experience you gain from these groups, man. Shout out to Sean, man, the Mossy and them
definitely.
brothers, man. Right now they on the elbow head. I'm great join the fray. I'm going to go all out with the elbows. I'm going to join the fray. Yeah, I'm gonna turn it out. I'm about to do that just to
Mm-mm.
get away from the nonsense of the Black Egypt conversation. But I think
Understood.
what I want to say is that you couldn't have told me 5 years ago, right? That I will be able to link up with some of the brothers and sisters, Kent Vance and them, Miss Tiff Juju, the Pseudo Killer Army, Brass, Marcus, damn, who else? Nahisi, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Dr.
Naheem.
Niad.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm leaving out names. I'm fucking it up. Just don't
Mac,
start naming
Rob,
names. Mac,
Anthony,
Rob, and Space Age. Yeah, man.
Brendan.
Like, yeah. Who else? We ain't leave out nobody, right?
We did Cedric. We left out a lot of people.
Man, we don't want to leave out no names. But I,
Cedric, all
Oh,
them.
I just want to say, yo, that you couldn't have told me that I could just get a group of black people that could actually discuss, like not actually believing in God and not fall out about it, right? Not being an expert and not fall out about it. Yo, 5 years ago, I thought I was in the right direction, but as I got better at understanding the people around me, right, I realized that everybody can't go, y'all. So the
Right.
conversations are actually counterintuitive, yo. And I swear the discourse with determinism and all that's like a Black Egypt conversation, yo, if you're not careful. You know what I'm saying? Like, get on your damn. I know it got on my damn nerves, right? It just got on my damn nerves, right? Because it just take another gear. But everybody understand the conversation, yo. And Andy was like, man, that's not normally what's going on around here. I've seen no such thing like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so and he has those conversations in those environments. Like he said, he with the Dawkins Foundation joint, man.
Right.
And that's a big compliment that man gave the group, bro,
Right. You
for
did.
that. But you could have never told me, yo, that 5 years ago, I thought maybe I was ready to ride out to the sunset, right? But y'all have revived, this great idea to making sure that African Americans, man, get scientific literate so they can help themselves move forward in this world, man. And I appreciate all y'all, adding to the mission, man. It's not my mission, man. It's all about mission, man. To educate our people because people around us are educated, different ethnicities. They grew up with this, yo. We don't
Right.
necessarily all of us don't grow up with this. The daggone psychiatrist, the DM, what's it called, Miss Tiff? The DM, what is it? The DM something. It's the book
The
with all the
psychology handbook, pretty
psychology
much.
handbook, but it's the word, the DM something.
You
We
right.
we not we,
I forget it all the time. Dang, how you fall off like that? Golly. He didn't. Let me find that psychology.
In the middle of cooking.
Yeah, go ahead, Gideon. And then said, "Oh, there he go. Let him back on."
I think
Dang,
all
how
our
you?
children are lucky, right, to be able to experience us. I'm gonna say that.
I just
You
pop
know you
back in there.
fell off, right, Bobby
here we
Finger?
go.
Hold on, I fell off.
Yeah, you popped
DSM.
back in
Hold on.
and came to your conclusion today.
It's the DSM.
What's that?
DSM. That's right, Miss Tiffany. The psychology diagnose book was what
Oh, okay. You're talking
how
about
they
It's the,
diagnose
the
psychological disorders.
Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders.
Correct.
The show on mental disorders and personality disorders. I definitely think it's about time for that show.
Go ahead, put it on the list now.
You already
Put it on
know.
the list. Let's crank it up. Let's crank it up.
Mhm. Yeah.
What do you say? What do you say? 2% of men were psychopaths.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
y'all.
it's a spectrum. I mean, it's a spectrum. All these things are a spectrum.
I heard all of them in the psychopaths.
But some psychopaths are serial killers. Not all of them are.
I'm just being funny. Go ahead. Holla at the people real quick. Get in. Dang. Where'd Cedric go? Come back, Cedric. Come back, Professor from Gilligan's Island.
Stop it, Juju. Stop. No.
So y'all mean to tell me I missed all that shit right there, yo?
What you say?
No fucking way. No, I mean when you say I came back with a conclusion. Y'all fucking serious, yo?
Conclusion.
And you came back with the finale at the end, and we was like,
What was the finale? What part, y'all?
We just glad to be here.
It's like you were accepting an award. It's like you be accepting an award. You go through the whole.
Are y'all serious, yo? Y'all ain't hear all this. Y'all missed.
No,
Y'all missed all of them.
We heard the part about you surmising about Amin Ra about people being, about religion, about us wanting to be scientifically
Yeah,
literate,
man.
about the broad conversations that we had in the
We
Discord.
dropped
We
off
got
at
the
the
gist of it.
DSM. It
We
was when he
only
asked.
missed like,
DSM, y'all died. Oh, okay. Let me
We
put
got
that.
it.
That was a
But you
oh,
fun.
know,
DSM. Okay, okay.
hey,
All right.
Continue,
So
back in,
continue your
hey,
acceptance speech,
hold
sir.
on, oh, you came back in. You came back in and was like, and that's why I love y'all. He was like, oh,
Continue your speech, sir.
let me page my fool. Hold on, that's fun.
That is funny. I'm crying. My God. We waiting on you,
go
Bobby.
ahead. Get to the meat,
Hold
man.
on
Get
one
to
second.
the
Hold on.
meat of
Oh, dang.
it.
Oh,
Pause, G.
Jesus, boy.
Pause.
Go ahead,
Oh, man,
Gideon.
crazy. I knew Brass was somewhere lurking, dog. I felt it.
I was just listening and then you
Oh,
doubled up on it. Pause.
Man.
ah,
Gideon, if you don't speak now, forever hold your peace. We don't hear you. Just let you know.
Gideon doing overtime right now.
Uh, what up,
All right,
Cedric?
next.
Fiddle killer.
Ah, let
I'm
me
back. Hold
take.
on, Cedric. Don't do me. Don't do me, Cedric.
God, you don't better get it together, bro.
Yeah, what's going on?
All right, don't do me. Don't do me, because you're gonna do me. Don't do me.
Man.
All right, good stuff. Don't do me. Let me say this, man. What I was saying was we weren't raised, and on the coffee table we have like the psychology book or Charles Darwin, the Beagle. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
we didn't get that. We would get like Ebony magazine or Sports Illustrated, some things of that nature, right? And the
Jet.
oddity about the whole thing is, I had all them books actually on my coffee table, evolutionary books, and my kids just flourished, man. And we just, I wouldn't say all African American homes. That would not be fair to the intellect that's been, coming out of off the slave ships, right? That's not fair. But I'm saying we talking about just a constant normality. We weren't raised in those conditions, and it actually changed the way we see the world, man. I think the mistake that African Americans make when they fight back against science is that it's somehow white, and then somehow we're going to forget where we came from. That's not true. So whether I recognize things as being a race or not, right? And I say there is no race social construct, that doesn't stop me from reconnecting to the pain and turmoil that we had to go through as Black Americans. And so I had a great conversation on the phone prior to the show with Miss Tiffany, and we was talking about she asked me about anti-Semitic, right, and what it meant. She was like, man, because they were talking about Candace Owens. And I
Right.
said, yeah. I said, yo, that's a page out the book, right? I said, we need to, you know, recognize why they say what they say. Because they always start at the Holocaust and take you back a little bit farther and how they got there. They routinely say that they don't get off of that, right? And to make statements against anything of their Jewishness, to them, it becomes anti-Semitic. I said we
Yeah.
need to have anti-blackness, right?
Correct.
And so when I'm about to fight the elbows, right? Because I look at the streams you be like, how you gonna have that many people on the damn stream? Listen to that bullshit, right? And they're actually anti-black. And so if we really had an organization that could really attack that, you get them knocked off of YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, do too much talking about Jewish community and acting like you the original Jews on the wrong platform. Yeah, out of the game, bro. Just act Nick Cannon and the boys. Say the wrong things, yo. You out the game. And I'm saying that's what we need. We need to have, an anti-blackness thing, right? Like, I'm not having that in the chat. Like, dude, like, what are you talking about? Don't be worrying about how our reparations is coming. Like, those certain things should not be questioned. Some things are off the table for questioning, and you're just anti-black. We don't have to answer your questions about why we need reparations. None of your damn business. Since you don't know, it's none of your business, right? We don't need, well, why you need to study Black history, African history. Well, none of your damn business. If you don't know, right, then you're not well read. You don't understand situations, times. So that's just for me to be able to teach my kids that and have a balance in it, because we should never allow history to become a weight where it weighs us down. I just want to end with that.
Well said. Well said. I wish you had a soundboard, Juju. You could do the whole round
Yeah,
of
I don't
applause.
know how to do no sound. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, Bobby. I don't know. But go ahead. That was hot.
Y'all is crazy around here, boy. Something wrong.
Try to improvise. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I mean, you be having adult speeches,
Yeah, that was,
NAACP style speech.
That's the clip, man. Y'all supposed to clip that shit up and put that on the thing, man.
we
Come on.
definitely.
Have
Okay.
a playlist of all of Bobby's speeches, y'all.
We'll do that. I like that point. That was an excellent point. I'm glad y'all had that conversation. In
Right.
fact, and maybe that's something we can get more into is this whole Candace phenomena now. Like it's funny, boy, when the rabbit gets done, boy.
Now you come back home.
It ain't no joke, right?
I don't know why them black people got shot over there with no police.
Yeah, she's definitely
know
trying to
why.
come back home. She's definitely trying to come back home.
Yeah, we're gonna let it home. We're gonna let it back home.
Of course we are. Of course we are. But go ahead, Cedric, before we get too hot on that. I want you to get yours in. I know you done got interrupted like 3 times, but it's good to see you, Cedric.
How you doing,
over
Juju?
here on our platform.
Hold on a second. No, I'm playing.
Well, let me say this. We all need to. That's why every time I get on these platforms, I keep repeating the same things. What are you grounded in? Are you grounded in methodological naturalism? Then these conversations are easy to dissect. This conversation wasn't going to go any other way. There was no other way for it to go, possibly. We kept having this discussion and running past stop signs. We are dealing with imperialism versus a philosophy. We are grounded in methodological naturalism, which leaves no room for anything outside of causality. Once you are grounded in these principles, these conversations are easy to follow. Like everything that gentleman said, every single thing we've said before. Why was it so hard to understand? Then it begs the question, are we really grounded in methodological naturalism? Is this the principles on which we try and fundamentally engage with the world around us? Now, if you stand on these principles, there's no discussion to be had. There's no debate to be had. A discussion, yes, on why we believe. That's an interesting discussion. But principally, to accept a philosophy, a hypothesis which has no grounding in imperialism is flawed methodology from the start. So, I pretty much knew the outcome of that conversation before it was had. Thank you for having it, though. I feel vindicated.
All right.
You funny.
Let me
Golly.
just get in here for 2 seconds.
Yeah, nobody said it the way Andy said it though, Miss Tiff. They lying with that.
Exactly. That's the whole
Trust me,
point.
that-
They didn't
that's
say it like
nonsense.
Andy said it.
Yeah, that's nonsense.
Not at all.
None of us are PhDs
Maybe that's
in
why people understand it
psychology
better.
either.
You know
Because
why
of the
Andy said it the way he did?
nuances. I just want to finish my statement because the nuances that the expert added to the conversation that none of us as non-experts were able to do. So for that, I appreciate. But let's not act like y'all was on that like that.
Yeah, I was on that like that.
But no, but guess what? Hold on.
I was on that like that.
You
I
never
was
made
on that like that.
You never.
I never heard of compatibilism. What's the word? Am I saying it wrong? I think that was key for me, y'all. Yeah, that was kind of key for me. Y'all get that though, right? Hold on, y'all.
I heard somebody. I loved when he said.
That was
I
key.
loved when he said that we live as compatibilists.
Yeah,
that
Yes.
makes so much sense.
But Robert Sapolsky made that exact point. We operate like that every day. Yes, I'm gonna read. Yes, I made a point, Miss Tiffany,
Man,
but you
Brass was
weren't
talking
listening.
in Mississippi. We all loud, yo.
I
Brass was
was.
talking. Tiff was talking.
Fight.
You got that powerful voice, boy.
Trying to all right. What I'm saying is,
illusion, though.
because he has a doctorate, that's literally the reason why you bring the experts in to bring a perspective that we're not that. None of us are that far in this conversation. We're all enthusiasts having a conversation. And I'm gonna tell you something. When he said that we live as compatibilists, that literally sold up a lot for me. It made me understand Miss Tiff and Logic's
I
argument
didn't get that
a
though.
lot better. It
Yeah,
Hold
but
But
definitely
he
did.
even Ankh made that point.
hey, but
No,
he
he
also
Even
never said
Ankh,
it.
said
No
but
one in
Ankh,
our
yo,
Discord
don't
put it
y'all
that
hold
way.
on. Don't
like
y'all
we
No one in our
all,
Discord put it that way.
hold on.
man,
I
he's literally repeating what Sapolsky said. Kent said it. I said, listen, we
Yes.
behave as compatibilists. We operate as if we make a decision on a daily basis. But in fact, we don't. It seems that way, but we don't. We acknowledge that. And it would be stupid to go around thinking, okay, let me wait until the decision is made before I act. No, we actively engage with it, although that's just a perception. We stated these things. Each point he made, we stated clearly
yeah, because
because he's repeating everything Zapolsky said. So I'm not understanding we didn't say it. Of course we did.
right, because when we say like, yo, the choice that we making is illusion. We have the illusion of thinking that we making that choice. That's
Exactly.
the same thing as saying that's the same thing as saying, yo, we live as compatibilists every day. Even though I feel I'm
right.
more I'm
It's
more the
not the
determinist.
same, yo.
Hold on, even though more I'm on more of the deterministic side, I still can say like, yo, I feel like I'm making my decisions right now. I feel like nothing in my past is making me make the next decision
But it's
because
not. It's
I feel.
more than that, Kent. You know, it's actually more than that. It's living your life as a compatibilist means that all the things you say as a determinist, you have compassion for people because they didn't have a choice. You in your everyday life ain't gonna be about that if somebody
Exactly.
kids
And
to
I
defend
acknowledge that and accept that
all
though.
that compassion and empathy goes out the door.
Because hold
For the
on,
most
because that doesn't mean that I'm a magically just stop being me and
you
stop
ain't
being.
you're not gonna never do that. You're gonna be you.
Exactly.
But hold
It's
on,
Exactly.
but
being
I'm
human is
gonna be
to be there
aware.
in that middle space.
Hold on,
Being
but I can
human is to do that.
hold on, but I can also be aware of it though. There's nothing wrong with being aware. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's fine.
Remember,
Be aware, but
remember, I brought up the point of my strong stance against grown-ups that mess with kids. Remember, I had and now I said, boy, this hits me in the chest having to deal with that reality. But it still doesn't mean that I have a soft spot or I have any compassion. Therefore, I operate the same way. I got a dislike for that, and I hold those people responsible, even though I understand determinism, right? Because you operate as a human being. You operate as a
exactly.
quote unquote compatibilist. We went over these points, Miss Tiffany, each one of these points.
Hey,
Now,
said
I
and,
don't know
and
where
Hey,
Unc
said,
is,
hey,
but when
said,
me
real
No,
and
quick.
right
Unc
here.
had
Let me
the
say this. Let me say
conversation,
this.
when me and Unc
Would
had
you
the
please turn your
conversation at
mic
I
the
don't
down,
want
end,
to.
said?
I don't want to yell on nobody, right? So,
yeah, now y'all
Brass, go ahead.
disrespectful.
Finish your point, Brass, and I'm gonna go
No, I
ahead.
was just saying, hey, said, I get the point. I get what you're saying. But off the subject, can you please turn your mic
nah,
volume
that's his voice.
down?
Bro. His mic is down. This is his voice. Yo.
Lord,
He is
sound
he is
like
like the
he
king.
sound like I got an F on my report
We
card.
all know that he's the king of the voice of the goddamn protection of the
Lord.
voice, yo. We can't do it, nothing about it. It's deterministic. Go ahead.
So, I'm saying like, um, I actually stayed out the conversation. I made one statement that I'm thinking in my mind, based off of understanding evolution, that us as humans have a need to think that we're actually making decisions. And I said, and I think that to be an illusion, the fact that we're making decisions, right? Yeah, but my shit ain't had no validity behind it when I said it, right? Wasn't supposed to, because I said, yo, I'm just thinking it through, right? Andy come on here and gives us some data points that says that we basically live as compatibilists. Compatibilists. I've never heard y'all say that, right? My shit was close to it, but that's some shit I just dreamed up, was sitting there listening to y'all and be like, hold on. Because I'm fucking with evolution, so such, right? So I'm just saying, just the way he put different things together, no matter what we say, we ain't heard, I ain't heard nobody put all the string the things together like that, yo. We was, you know, like I've heard teachers to teach evolution, yo. There's like a certain level of compassion you got to give out with that, because that's, I don't think we even recognize how just counterintuitive evolution is, or how counterintuitive this conversation. And the conversation was so deep that I just had to shut the fuck up and sit back and watch y'all get into it. I got the book, I did all that, and I just stayed to myself, yo, because I know it was very thought provoking, and I knew it was real heavy, yo. Some shit is heavy, nigga. That conversation right there, yo, is heavy. Just like the not believing in God, yo, that's a heavy conversation. All right, and so we do not show enough compassion and empathy, right, for people. I'm trust me, yo, because I know I'm one of it, yo, because I throw the book at you. Once you get too slick, then I don't even care, yo. And I'm saying, yo, where we at, yo, and I'm thinking, yo, you had that man come on here and say, yo, he been around here, he ain't seen nobody do it like that. That's different. So we just gotta learn that, yo, we gotta recognize that we human and everybody else is human, and that we in a place, yo, that most people not gonna even touch in their life, yo. So no, I've never heard y'all with the empathy and grace and stringing it together. I've never heard that. It seemed like you had to fight. We had to fight you on it. Trust me, yo. I know. I've been on all the sides. I just want to add my little $5.
Yeah, I think when we say it's counterintuitive, we acknowledge that most of us live our life as compatible. I think I said it before. Maybe I don't remember. I said, "Yo, even though I know, or not, maybe not even know, even though I feel like it's a deterministic, everything is determined, and all behavior and all of that. Like I still feel like I'm making my own decisions. I still feel like none of that even matters because I still feel like I still feel the same. It's not gonna make me go out and start looting and all of that. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. You know what I mean? If you want to say we ain't say the exact words verbatim, that everybody walks around compatibilist, then you might be right on that. I don't know. Marcus might have mentioned it. I don't know.
Yeah, I
But
never use the word compatibilism.
I know we kind of I mean, but that's kind of what we meant when we say, oh, it's an illusion. The you know, our brain is predicting everything, is things are already, decisions are already being made before we even become aware of it. You know what I mean? Like this, watch the brain shows, man. It kind of like we
Yeah,
kind of already kind of spoke on it a little bit without even having to speak on it. But go ahead.
yeah. I mean, we did only again. I wouldn't have interjected the word compatibilism because it would have confused the conversation. So the way he reintroduced it was brilliant. However, we did illustrate, yo, this is counter. So we have positions and we hold people responsible. We hold people accountable, right? And we're not going to stray from that. I would find it impossible not to hold a P responsible. I illustrated that. However, understanding that determinism and that is a natural sequence of events, I still cannot detach holding that individual responsible for that action that is a crime against humanity because it's a crime against a child. That was a specific point I illustrated to show I understand one aspect but still operate on the other because it's
Yeah.
human nature.
And one more thing, Cedric, being aware of it still kind of influences us to have a little bit more compassion. We might not be the Oprah Winfrey with the compassion, but it might give us a little bit. I might think a little bit harder the next time I go to judge somebody. Like, you know what? Maybe they didn't mean that. You know what I mean? And it'll battle with my inner feelings of saying, he did that on purpose. You know what I mean? But it'll be
Yeah,
a little bit something there to kind of combat that, a little internal back and forth with myself on whether or not that person decided to do such and such and such and such. So it's still an
yeah,
influence there in being aware. It's still something good about that. If that makes
yeah.
sense.
I understand it completely, right? Like understanding how something operates, right? Fundamentally doesn't change the way you interact with reality, right? Like we have that on so many levels. We understand we don't change the nomenclature because we understand that the sun doesn't set and rise, right? So
Right.
when somebody says sunset, we don't stop and say, "Man, what you talking about? The Earth is rotating around it." We don't do that.
No.
So even understanding the way things actually operate doesn't mean that you don't operate within the senses that you have. Like the sun sets, bro.
Right. Our senses are limited. Yo, like how many times we said that? Our senses are limited. We don't sense reality the way it is. We experience it the way our brains interpret it. That's the
Exactly.
bottom line, yo. Like reality is a whole different way. Our brains interpret this whole reality in a whole different way than what it actually is.
Let
and
me
that's
let me
that's
interject one point here clearly before we get confused. The concept of the philosophical concept of compatibilism, he clearly dismissed that. There is no room within naturalism or causality for the concept of compatibilism as it is philosophically explained to exist. However, the actions that we do with our brain creates the illusion thereof. So nobody's going to argue that later on that the doctor said that compatibilism exists. We're not going to create that confusion. That's why I would never use that word, knowing the community I'm in.
so to be human is to be compatibilist. I can work with that. Even if it's a deterministic world, I can work with that.
You just got to add illusion underneath that quote.
But that's to be human. That's a part of the human experience.
Yeah, but
Is Tiffany doing exactly
so
what
let
I
me
said? Don't
let
do
me
it.
No, I'm not doing exactly what you said. I'm repeating what the doctor said. We walk around as compatibilists. So that's part of our human experience.
Right, hold on. That's cool.
I didn't cut y'all off.
Okay.
It's necessary as a human to operate that way. Otherwise, we would just be a completely different type of species. So we see an illusion. Everything that we see that comes into our eyes it has to be flipped upside down. That's an illusion. So all of that is to be human. That's part of the human experience.
Yeah, but that wasn't our conversation. Our conversation wasn't about what the human experience about.
That's beyond the point. The point is that they both are coexist because that's just a part of the world that we live in. We can't get away from that. We can't get away from the fact that something that happened 200 years ago influences a lot of things that happen in our life today. As we can't get away from being human means to operate by default in the world as a compatibilist.
That's cool.
What's up, y'all?
On a logic, that wasn't the conversation though. The
That's
conversation.
not the point. I'm moving. There's other parts of the conversation though, Kent. We don't gotta stay in one corner of the conversation. It's more broader than that. It's not just that. Otherwise, we would have been on the live with the expert for 3 hours.
No, that's understood, but that doesn't make our position wrong.
I didn't say it was. I even said even in the deterministic world, I even said that part. We still operate humanly as compatibilists.
Okay, so you team determined then. All right.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
That's what I'm talking
no,
about.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I can actually say that for myself. I don't need anybody to speak for me when it comes to my position. So I'm saying exactly what I'm
glad I said what I said.
I'm glad you did too, sir.
Yeah, because
we're compatible.
Tiffany is doing exactly what I was afraid of using that word.
Is to be a compatibilist.
First of all, the philosophical position of compatibilist, he dismissed that. He says the idea that a part of the brain that operates independently without cause is a illusion. That's false. That doesn't exist. And then he brought it around. He came around and said, but we operate under the illusion of compatibilism, as if there exists this part of the brain that is making an independent decision. As if illusion. So compatibilism, the philosophical position that there is a part of the brain that operates independently is not valid. It doesn't exist.
I didn't say that, Cedric. I'm saying that I agree that a lot of the things
that it doesn't exist. That compatibilism, the philosophical position of compatibilism doesn't exist.
What
right?
I'm saying,
you agree with that?
No. Let me say what I'm saying.
So you don't agree with what Dr.
Let
Kevin
me say
said.
what I'm saying, yo. I'm saying that part of being human is to have it's illusion. There's illusion in many different aspects of our experience. It's part of the human experience, is what I'm saying.
Agreed.
So why is it odd that it would be a part that it would also apply to this aspect of being human? It applies to the things that we see through our very eyes. It's an illusion.
So the part of compatibilism. So the illusion of compatibilism is how this thing we perceive as decision making is. The illusion of, because compatibilism itself isn't a thing. So the illusion of compatibilism.
And that's
The
not what I
illusion
said.
of.
I'm not gonna let you
So
put
so
words
so
in my
but he's saying we operate under the illusion of, but it is not so. But it is not
This is
so.
why I'm glad that I actually got to have a personal conversation with Dr. Andy, the expert, and I'm gonna land my plane right there. Listen,
I listened to the
You
whole
got
show.
that, Miss
I
Tiffany.
had
I
several.
listened to
I
the
had
whole
several.
show,
Yeah, I
and I
know. I
have no
know.
comprehension issues, and that's why I
And
illustrated the
neither
point
do
because
I.
I heard the
And neither
comprehension
and
issue.
neither do I.
So
Cedric,
you
neither
agree? So you agree that the philosophical concept of a part of the brain that makes the decisions independently of cause does not exist. However, the illusion thereof is how we operate. You understand the
I'm stating what I
distinction
said.
between the
I don't
two?
need you to restate myself with
Also, so you don't,
Let,
agree with that
let,
statement?
let,
So
wait a
do
I
minute.
you
don't
agree
need
with
you.
that
I
statement?
don't need you
I
to
made
I
I
think
restate.
made that
We
statement. You
have
agree with it or not?
other
I think
I
you
don't
I think
need
you're trying to
you to
pigeonhole her
say
down
what
into
I'm
Wait a
saying
dualism,
to
yo.
minute.
her.
Wait a
I can
minute.
speak for
Can't have
myself.
everybody jumping
I don't
in.
need
Let's
anybody to change my words, though. I said what I said. I had 3 conversations with Andy personally, so I'm good. There we go.
But he said you
so
was wrong though.
wait a minute.
No, he did not.
Let's move
Come
forward.
on, man.
Let's move forward. We have other people on the panel. Can we let those other people speak? If y'all want to do, you know what I'm saying, a Cedric versus Tiffany later, fine. But this is
No,
after show. I'm
No,
being funny.
Come
This
on.
no.
is after show about, the discussion which we're having, but let's not get too contentious. So I know Sunchild has hit the panel. You got Gullah Gabri here now and Logic. So yeah, I'm gonna let Logic and then I'll go to Gullah Gabri. And the only reason why I saved the best for last, Sunchild, is because you are long-winded. So no disrespect.
Hell.
Logic.
Gullah.
Can y'all hear me?
Now we can.
There's a concept called temporal lag or temporal disassociation, right? And what that means is like the amount of time between when an action is performed and like when you become aware that the action happened, right? So an example of this would be like if you go turn on the light switch, right? there this this reaction is it's based in time, right? So if you turn the light switch on and the lights immediately come on, you are aware that you turned on the light switch. That is not an illusion, right? Now there's this disassociation to where if you go to turn the light switch on, nothing happens. I mean, you obviously know that something's wrong here. Like it's not an illusion to the point where you now become unaware of your own actions. You get what I'm saying? And there's another experiment out there to where like people are getting a particular type of brain surgery, and the surgeon is able to stimulate certain parts of their brain, which can cause them to like move their limbs. And if you ask the person, hey, was that you who moved your limbs? They can clearly say, no, that was not me, even though their limbs moved. You get what I'm saying? Like, so like there is some level of awareness that you can at least say, hey, I did this, or no, I did not do that. And that's not an illusion, right? So to try to pigeonhole all these actions into being an illusion, I think you're just oversimplifying it at that point. That's in my article, right? It's a part of that Haggard article. It's called temporal disassociation, temporal lag.
Maybe
That's a real concept.
maybe we should revisit that and maybe add that to show and discuss some other brain phenomena. I think that would be good, but like, look into it more depth. You feel me? Because it was a lot of information dropped for this debate, and I for sure ain't read all of it. Okay. Yeah, nah. But yeah, I think that would be a good addition to the brain show, actually. Um, I'm gonna let Gullah Gabri go on the Sunchild, and then y'all can have it. But I just want to be fair. Gullah, are you there?
Oh,
You ready? Go
so,
ahead.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
what up? Yeah,
No,
how are people? Give us, give us the business.
no, I was just you know what I'm saying. I was just saying I understand what Sister Tiffany was coming from. Cause like yeah, you know what I'm saying, that all that type of stuff was necessary for human development, human evolution, the evolutionary journey in the first place. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. We ain't had none of that type of stuff. We wouldn't even be here to be having this conversation.
Got it. Sunchild, you are up. The floor is yours. Go right ahead. Obi-Wan Kenobi to R2D2. Done. Oh, they talking about not sonship. I'm done. Don't do that, man, like that.
We'll be back.
Sunflower seed.
Sunflower seed. Oh my God. I'll start over. Brass, you have anything else to add? Here you go. Wait a minute,
No,
y'all.
like I said, I think it was a good conversation. I think we did what we do. We did for us what we do for everybody else. We brought in an expert to do these
Clarify.
conversations, right? So we set up these conversations. None of us are experts in that field. I know when people start talking about it, you may feel like an expert, but you didn't stay at a Holiday Inn last night. So I think it's good to get clarity. Even in his presentation, it sounds like some of the things. I'll side with Kent and Cedric a little bit on that. It does sound like some, but when you hear it, when I hear it from people kind of like me, I don't. It does sound different when an expert is saying it, and I'll tell you, I understood that one sentence. Pardon me if anybody else said that, but that sentence meant a lot. I want to send some flowers to Logic. Pause real quick. This is the first energy that you have in those voice chats publicly. First, I was terrified that you weren't going to actually give some pushback. And I think that even with all the conversations we've been having lately about scrutiny and pushback and things, I appreciate the fact that you gave him some pushback publicly and then respectfully accepted what accepted what you heard from him and then moved forward. So I got to send you. Thought you was going to back down and you didn't. So salute.
What's wrong with your mic? It keep putting you on timeout, Brass.
I don't know, man.
He accepted his beat down with pride. I did.
Go ahead, Sunchild. You got the
Hey,
floor.
thanks. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, real quick. I wanted to say that I thought Logic did a good job on. He took my question about whether it was actually a philosophical or a scientific question, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he kind of backed down on being so clear on it being scientific, a scientific discussion. I think he backed down a little bit based on Logic's pushback. But as far my real concern here is we're using the word illusion and saying that we can know that we don't have free will, but act as if we do, or act as compatibilists. And I'm not sure that's an illusion or a delusion for it being delusional. The difference between illusion and delusion, an illusion is if we,
That's good. Go ahead. You cooking.
yeah, an illusion is if we're not sure if our senses are telling us something or registering something that's not real. But the delusion is if all evidence points to something that is true and we do otherwise. So I think that that's what's being sold here is a delusion, and I find it kind of ironic that we're talking about religious delusions in one subject and then affirming scientific delusions in another. So that's the challenge that I'm having here.
Lower your voice. You're talking loud. Lower your voice.
Okay, I don't.
Your mic is mic.
Okay, yeah. So that's what we're doing with here.
You're not gonna overthrow the field. Calm down. Calm down.
Yes, sir. Now, so that's what we're dealing here with is as far as affirming that a thing is determined, that we don't have free will, but acting as if we do is a delusion. And another question I would have liked to ask him is, according to Robert Sapolsky, he says that he can only be deterministic 3 days out of a month. and for the rest of and for the rest of the month, he is a compatibilist. He is his idea that of free will. So, for example, having road rage at someone and holding them responsible, that happens for him 28 days out of a month. So he's actually telling us that he is, for most of the month, delusional. And what he is saying is that we, in 600 years, this determinism will lead to a utopia, and we will somehow become used to the fact and somehow live with the idea of determinism, and determinism will become practical and
What?
lead to a, I'm sorry.
You're lying. When did you ever say it's gonna be a utopia?
Let him
I
finish.
said This is what Robert Sapolsky said, not Andy. This is what Robert Sapolsky said. And Robert Sapolsky said this in a link that I think Brother Chill posted in the server in an interview where he talked about depression. He said that or it was a conversation with Neil deGrasse Tyson that he had, and he spoke about 600 years, determinism would lead to a utopia, but until then, we would have to be compatibilists, in which case, for 600 years, we'll have to be delusional.
Interesting.
So,
Central Real, before you continue, is there a way that you can turn the volume down because it's extremely loud?
No, we can turn the volume down. Don't let them go so damn long.
Right.
Is that better? I just turned my volume down. Is that better?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Now I can hardly hear you, but I'll try to speak a little softer. But I think I've made my point.
No,
If
you mumble jumble. But let me say this. Let me say this, y'all. Listen, you have not made your point. You've mischaracterized everything that man said.
Right.
And at this point, I'm sure it's based off your religious baggage that you carry in every conversation. You would never understand this. I get it, and I'm not mad at you. I'm going to show some empathy.
But I want to say it would take 600 years to change all this.
Wow.
We evolve if we're talking about evolving and evolution, then yeah, it might take 600 years for
Y'all in the future.
for us to really actually live in a world that different branches of our society have bought into this idea. It may take that long. Yeah, I mean,
I need you to chime in. Go ahead, Cedric.
There's no delusion here. When I said illusion, it is the illusion on which we operate. It's our natural senses that gives us the idea that we are actively engaging in making decisions. And you're right, Zapolsky did say 28 days out of the month he's a compatibilist. Why? Because he's gonna hold the person responsible that's driving like a jerk, right? We all do that. That is the natural way we operate. However, we use science to examine these concepts, and the concept of free will doesn't exist. However, we operate under the illusion of, doesn't make the philosophical position of compatibilism an actuality. There is no part of the brain that operates independently.
Okay, so what is the conclusion?
There is no delusion that is taking place. What he's saying is, when we understand these mechanisms better, we form our societies different. So if we understand, for example, the consequences of having malnutrition during pregnancy, or a mother having stress during pregnancy, we eliminate these factors in our society. We produce less individuals likely to commit crimes and these type of things. So understanding these phenomena is going to allow us to structure our society differently, so that the outcome, right, of our decision making process, right, be one that is more beneficial. It is not stating that automatically eventually we're going to evolve to stand and wait till the deterministic nature of us kicks in and the decision is made and then we operate. That's never going to happen.
No.
they accept that.
I wasn't
Yeah,
implying
but
that. I was
I think
talking about in different levels of society,
I think
in
That
medicine, and technology, and what's how science and our social lives can come together on it. That's more what I was.
man, that thumbnail is
That
hard.
could
Keep that
take time.
thumbnail. That's hard.
That could take time. That
I
ain't gonna
think
happen overnight.
I think I think once y'all realize that it's
It can't.
counterintuitive.
It can't. It
Hmm.
can't. That thumbnail hard, yo.
Which one?
That thumbnail on the show. Keep that. That's hard.
Which one? Oh, that's I think you put that on
Yo, that shit. Listen to me, yo.
there.
That's standing out on anything on the TV. I ain't trying to cut the conversation. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
I
tell
think
you,
you
yo.
put that in there, yo.
That's one of them. That's one of them moments, yo. You might wanna grab that. The pictures at the bottom is a little wild, right?
Ah,
But you might want to put our faces at the bottom of that motherfucker. That shit
oh,
hard, yo. That's there. But
What you
go ahead,
talking
yo.
about?
the
What's
face,
The
hard?
you know.
thumbnail, yo. The thumbnail.
A,
When you
a
got a big
breast.
ass TV and you look at it, you look at everybody else's thumbnail, that shit stand out.
Yeah, that's compliments of brass. It's got
That shit hard, yo.
yeah, and that's actually I used it again.
Yeah, I'm about to say
You
I
just
thought
won't you keep
so.
it. Keep that.
Yeah, we ain't gonna keep it. I got them all. I keep them all. You feel me? Recycle
That's
them when we
hard, yo. Get the wild pictures off the bottom. I think you got some people with funny hats on the bottom. Just get the circle the motherfucker.
I'm finna go back on mute. You wow. I cannot.
Oh
See, I
boy.
think I see Dr. Ben in there with the hat, and I see some other people.
Oh boy.
You stupid, yo.
Ah,
Carry on the conversation. Carry
Oh,
on.
hey, look. I think once we realize it's counterintuitive, I didn't think that would be hard for most of the pseudo killers to actually accept that this whole idea of determinism is counterintuitive, yo. I think once we understand that, it's like it's not hard to accept it. You know what I mean?
Nobody said that though, Kent. No, not
Exactly.
Miss Tiff, not me. Nobody never said that.
Say what? That it
Yeah,
wasn't
we
counterintuitive,
never said that we don't understand it as counterintuitive, yo.
but it wouldn't be
I
so.
ain't even heard Miss. She been arguing with y'all. She ain't never said that the shit don't make sense. She ain't never said that.
She
Logic say
she
he
just don't
changed
rock.
his mind in the middle of the argument.
She just don't rock with it, yo. And
No, she ain't say that. She ain't say that.
it's like,
Listen, here's the point I would
yeah,
like to make. I would like to make this point. Y'all claim that y'all understand that we walk around as compatibilists every day. Y'all claim y'all understand that.
yeah,
But obviously not. You get it? So why are you mad at me feeding into the illusion?
because
You
we
can't be.
scientifically literate and we
I know, but
explain.
so we take the data. But I don't like the fact that the person that wrote the book, Robert
Mm-hmm.
Pulowski, says that I know Wishing Common messed it up, but I get what he's saying when he say most of the time he only got 3 days when he such and such. You don't get what he's saying, right?
I
He's
understand.
saying that it's so integral part of us and our brain and how it evolved
Mm-hmm.
that you can't tell. It ain't like we can get away from the earth and tell the size and shape of it and do all that and geodesity and all that. That
Mm-hmm.
ain't that, yo. So we're not actually supposed to know that we're not making
What
decisions,
about
Mr.
evolution?
Kent.
What about evolution?
No, I'm saying we're not supposed. Listen, bro. We would probably all lose our minds, yo. Literally, if we actually could see that we're not making decisions, yo. I don't think that's ever gonna happen. You get what I'm saying, yo? I don't think that's gonna happen.
It actually
No,
makes it a little bit interesting.
I get that.
it do. I know, but you get what I'm saying, right? I don't think you have a sane mind, yo, and
It
know
might.
that. Seriously.
That's
Now I
true.
want to talk to the religious guys on the panel right now. No way you can claim to believe in God and then think we got some control over any motherfucking thing. No way. Does it make sense? God Almighty knows everything at all times. He controls everything, and all of a sudden we got some control. Now that's ridiculous. I just like to finish with that.
I think I keep repeating myself when saying we are never going to operate as if we don't make decisions. We're never going to do that. We're always going to operate as if we're compatibilists.
You know what?
No one is going to ever go one day without feeling a sense of responsibility for the decisions they make or holding somebody accountable. We're
Hey,
never going to do that. That's human nature.
I wouldn't
But
say
being
never.
scientifically literate, we're answering the question, right, of free will based on science. And what we conclude that there is no such thing. The whole of nature is deterministic, and so is the actions that we engage in. So we're not saying that we're ever going to reach to a point that we operate under this paradigm.
I,
Never.
I wouldn't
We're
say that.
gonna always be the illusion as if we're making decisions. That's just
Hey,
human nature. That's part of evolution.
Cedric, hey, Cedric, I wouldn't say never, because if you think about a couple hundred years ago, they was burning witches at the stake because they thought they was cursed or something like that, because they, what I mean, it was different behaviors. They didn't have ways to tell if somebody had schizophrenia or autism and things of that nature, right? So they automatically thought those people were possessed with demons and all kind of stuff, right? So I'm pretty
Agreed.
sure people back then that was studying those behaviors and was trying to tell other people like, no, it's really something going on with, it's not that they possess, it's something going on with their brains. And during that time that it wasn't known that these things, these uh brain uh what you call them, disorders
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
was possible. I'm pretty sure the people of that time thought them people was out of their minds. Like, nah, we'll never
I
accept somebody acting crazy and say that they
yeah.
just
I get your
right.
point, Ken. We're going to structure society differently. I agree with that. Knowing and understanding how these systems operate is going to allow us to structure society differently.
I
But
think
the human being, the individual, and how he operates his daily life, he's gonna be under the illusion that he's choosing the chocolate cake versus the pineapple upside down cake. That's
hold on, but think
always
about
gonna
it.
be the case.
Hold on, but think about it. We still in the early stages of this, right? So then I'm not saying this has got to happen or it's going to happen. It's like 100% proof. But I'm saying, like I say, back then we didn't think that we would start to accept, brain disorders and actually be able to put it in this right category and get these people help and understand. Like, you don't get hit by autistic child and then automatically think, he did that on purpose, I'm gonna beat his ass. You don't do that, because we know better now, right? As a society, we over the last couple of decades, we understand what's going on. So I'm thinking, and y'all say what, 500-600 years, I'm not saying no utopia, but I do think society will be progressed enough to where it'll be way more understood than what we understand it in 2024.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta agree with you there. I
You
gotta
know?
agree with you there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I accept that point. I accept that point. But again, we're making two different points, and I think we both have valid points, right? Like, I'm going from the guy in the kitchen who's gonna decide whether he's gonna make a hamburger or boil a hot dog, right? He's gonna make that choice, and that perception that he is making the decision is always going to be there. That mechanism under which we operate, right, as human being, is always going to be there. You're always going to be forced with choices, and the perception that you're making a decision, although we understand that that was the only choice you had, all these things we understand it, still the way we operate, the illusion of making the decision between the chocolate cake and the pineapple upside down cake is still going to be of perception as if you're making a conscious decision. You understand that point?
Mhm. Yeah.
And I agree with you. Like, society, we're gonna start to understand things more, show more compassion. Our legal system and the way we structure a lot of things is gonna change based on understanding these mechanisms better, right? But on the individual level, we're never gonna get away from the idea and the perception that we make choices. Like, you get up in the morning and I say I choose to go to work. Like, you know what I mean? That's always gonna be a way that we articulate our reality.
What about even the back when we had religious minds, and they thought um, if they dance and the rain gonna come, or they couldn't understand natural phenomena, so they made up these gods and these uh pseudoisms to understand nature, right? And now those things is pretty much obsolete from like from thousands of years ago.
Mhm.
I'm just thinking, we don't know how different it's going to be in the next couple of hundred years. I mean, with
Shoot,
things progressing so fast now with
walking
technology, I mean,
you still got people walking around that Jesus got them some dollars or something.
yeah, Sunchild one of them.
Yeah, I guess looks like we're picking and choosing our illusions. So you're saying we're pretty much functionally illusional, huh?
Illusional.
Or is it that we're functionally delusional? Which is it?
Is there such thing as being functionally stupid?
Like, yeah, like why play with
Is
the
that,
words though? Like, we
No, that's what
operate
you're
under
saying.
a
figure
We're
that
premise.
out.
Well, that's exactly what you're saying, Cedric.
No, we
That's
operate.
exactly
We
that's exactly what
naturally.
this
We
compatibility
Y'all gotta go.
argument
Hey,
is
you whoa, whoa. Y'all
that we are
definitely gotta go one at
functionally
a time, though.
delusional.
No, but y'all definitely
That's
gotta go one
exact.
at a time.
we're
Seriously.
Yeah,
saying
that's
science.
exact.
We're saying
Go ahead,
science is
Cedric.
counterintuitive. So, what the science usually explains to us is actually counterintuitive to what we think. From the sun rising and setting, from the earth spinning around around the sun and around its axis, all these things are counterintuitive. And science consistently proves that what we perceive is not actually what is taking place. We perceive the world as solid, however, each atom is 99.9% empty space. These are all scientific facts that our perception of reality is completely different. Again, when we examine the philosophical the hypothesis of free will, right, under which our society was structured, we are at the point now that we have enough tools within science to examine that hypothesis. And again, science proves counterintuitive. But that counterintuitivity is going to be a fundamental way that we operate. And we're not saying that now that we understand determinism, all of a sudden we're going to wait until the decision is made and know that we have no agency. So I'm going to stand in front of the cheesecake and the apple pie and wait for determinism to kick in. That's never going to happen. So that mechanism under which we operate, however illusionary it is a result of evolution. It's not a
Let's
delusion.
shut y'all get in, yo. Let's shut y'all get in.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Well, I think we're agreeing that we're functionally illusional, and if we know and if we know that we're deterministic and we act as if we're compatibilistic, then we're functionally delusional. But I would also like to say that I hear a lot that the Christian scapegoat for personal responsibility is the devil. We say the devil made us do it. It looks like the materialist scapegoat is now for our for personal responsibility. The materialist scapegoat is determinism. So we can say that the religious have their devil and the materialist has their determinism as a scapegoat for avoiding personal responsibility. What do you think of that idea?
Cedric, go ahead,
I
Cedric.
want to I want to push back on one point that you made when you said act. We operate. This is a means by which evolutionary process allowed us to engage with the world based on the illusion that we make these decisions. It's not an act. It's not something that we consciously choose to do. So there's no delusion. There is no falsehood there. This is simply the mechanism by which we engage with the natural world based on evolution, right? There is no scapegoat there, right? What determinism is teaching us is that how we come to where we are has everything to do with everything before, right? The moment that we perceive that we have this choice, right? That's all it is doing. It is explaining us the system by which we operate. And if you have listened to Sapolsky, he illustrated this is going to allow us to structure societies in such a way that the ACE coefficient goes down, right? That the risk factors are eliminated, that we create societies and structure societies that allow for the best outcomes for individuals, understanding these mechanisms that are in play. That's all it is. It says nothing, and you are the one that illustrated the point that Sapolsky himself clearly illustrates, that he understands we are going to operate under the illusion of compatibilism, as if the individual is actually responsible, if I as if I am actually responsible, and the reward that is given to me, I actually earned it based on my own merit, etc., etc. He illustrates that we cannot get away from that. So I don't
Yeah, but
understand the
again,
argument you make.
I think you're choosing to use the word illusion. Illusion is when you don't know any better. A delusion. You're. I think you're choosing not to use the word delusion purposely, Cedric. But that's exactly what it is, and I like it. I think you should be honest and use that word instead of saying it's an illusion. Illusion are for those who do not know anything about deterministic. They are living an illusion. But in this community, if we know about determinism, and we wake up in the morning and choose to have personal responsibility and apply personal responsibility to others, then we are in fact delusional. I think you're avoiding that distinction purposely. Um,
Why don't
but
you answer that question that I asked you though?
I just
what's
want
the
to say,
question?
How can you believe in an all powerful God that knows everything at all times, omnipotent, omnipotent, and omnipresent, and didn't think you got any goddamn decisions around this motherfucker? That's a question
Well,
to
yeah,
you, bro.
it's called predeterminism in the religious sphere, and yeah, there is that. I wouldn't deny that, but there is an aspect where they say
Thank you
that
very much. Go ahead, Juju. Go ahead, Juju. Thank you
all
very
I
much,
wanted
sir.
to say is that so that terminology when we're saying an illusion because we're living as compatibilists, but it's actually a deterministic reality is not something we made up. That's what the scientists say. I just wanted to make that clear for you, Sunchild.
And there's a
I
reason,
understand,
and
but
there's a reason why they use that specific term, right? Because again, we evolve to operate that way. Whether we understand it, accept it or not, we operate under that premise. Now, you're moving the goalposts when you're saying, right, even though we are conscious of determinism, we still hold the next one accountable. Yes, it is instinctive, it is natural because of our evolutionary process. We hold ourselves accountable and we give ourselves the credit, therefore we hold the other that way. And we can never get away from the fact that we think that we are, or that we actually choose the one over the other. Right? And we're never going to get away from that. That is just part of the evolutionary process. Science gives us tools, right, by which we can now structure things within our society and take a look, for example, at how our legal system is set up, etc., right? But to say that we are behaving disingenuously, or we're committing a foul by behaving naturally under the illusion that is evolutionary, I
Right.
think that statement is categorically false.
I agree.
Can
We
y'all
got
hear me?
someone else on the panel. We got Fetty that joined us. What's up, Fetty? I was going to give you a moment to introduce yourself and, give your piece. So, fam, the floor is yours.
Peace. What's going on, y'all? What's good? What's good? What's good? Good interview earlier. Feel me? Learned a lot of information. Even though I got into a little back and forth in the chat, you feel me? I always like having an intellectual spar. You feel what I'm saying? Shout out to Ankh, Baltimore. Look, my college football teammate came from Baltimore, and the first time I went out to Baltimore, a nigga called me dummy, and I almost got in a fight with him until I learned the culture out there. So shout out to Baltimore, man.
Yeah, shout out to
That's
Baltimore.
Look,
funny.
Dunbar, Tavon Austin, I know all about that, huh? You know what I mean?
Okay, okay, all right.
But yeah, I wanted to talk about this topic in regard to free will and things of that nature, dealing with the brain and one thing in my studies that I'm finding very interesting is quantum physics and quantum mechanics in general. One article that
You went out on us, Fetty. Dang. About to get it in.
Oh, that's Fetty right there.
Yeah, that's Fetty. Ah, hey.
Fetty say I'm at work. They use the word intellectual conversation too much. I say, damn.
That one Fetty, that was LaRon.
No, what? No, that was Fetty. What's
LaRon.
LaRon?
Yeah.
What was Fetty talking about? Fetty was doing something. I was
He
something.
wasn't doing that though.
Can y'all
What's
hear
up?
me?
Yeah,
We
we
can
can
hear
can you hear me?
you
can
still. Go ahead.
Yeah.
wiped
Fetty,
out.
you dropped out.
Fetty
So
Can you
wiped
hear me?
out.
maybe you
Can you
gotta
hear me?
Fetty wiped.
drop and come back in. I hope you can hear us because we want to hear what you have to
He said he
say.
wiped out.
Yeah, he wiped out.
That's
Nah, I got
probably saying
look, look. Can y'all hear me?
oh, we hear you now. Wait a minute.
You're
Look,
funny.
Wait,
you
there you
see
go. Here
how
you
I
go.
come. You see how I try to, extend, some grace and also, be diplomatic in my conversation and not try to stir. You see how they saying the fatty wop and all that. Look, I'm a,
We joke.
I'm a
We
stick. Look,
we
I'm a
joke.
stick. Look, I'm niggas trying to stir me off. I know. Look, I know how Baltimore niggas do. But look, quantum vibrations,
Uh-huh.
the things of that nature. And I think that is an interesting correlation when you talk about compatibilism, because when I look at studies dealing with quantum mechanics, it actually plays a very huge role in regards to what we do in our everyday lives, especially choices and things of that nature. So instead of coming on here making claims, because I'm not an expert, I just want to ask certain questions in regards to, have y'all read or seen anything regarding this quantum microtubule vibrations in the brain, and also how that could possibly be a correlation in regards to things going on with the brain in general that humans throughout history may have been trying to express via religion or whatever. I'm not, making any, absolute claims. These are just thoughts that I have. So, yeah. And also, I think y'all should do a show on ADHD and the hunter-gatherer brain. I thought that was a
Yeah, I
profound,
saw that. We wrote it down too.
yeah. So yeah, these are
I can
these are
answer
just
that question.
questions that I
No,
have.
no. First, I'm gonna speak first, and I'll let y'all go in. But Fetty, so you were at work when Dr. Andy was on the panel, because
I wasn't really able because I was
trust
in and out.
him.
I'm at work. You feel me? So I
All right.
heard like a lot of what he was saying and the arguments, but
Okay.
I heard him also. When y'all was asking about things, I think you brought it up in regards to chaos theory. Who
Yes,
brought that up?
I did.
I think if you listen to physicists or just people in certain fields that come together to come to these new conclusions based off quantum physics and how that may play a role in the brain, and that dealing with even quantum biology, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Just how, like, and basically scientists are coming to a new discovery, and they have a term, I guess, called beyond space-time and things of that nature. So these are just thoughts that I have, and I was wondering if it correlates to this topic that y'all talking about.
I'm not sure. I've actually never heard of that, but I'll look into it.
And the
Um,
Boltzmann brain as well. That's an interesting theory. I don't want to mess it up. If somebody can pull
no,
it
you
up, I don't
good.
have it. I don't have. I'm not. I don't know how to work this shit for real.
Can
But
y'all,
if y'all can pull up
can
like
y'all hear me?
Boltzmann brain and things dealing with just
Shalom way.
things on a quantum mechanic level, dealing with superposition, non-locality, and shit like that.
Roger that. Go
So
ahead, Shalom
they
way.
they they really don't have a way right now. It's just theoretical. They really don't have a way to actually test it. They're proposing that it's possible. The only thing they found so far that they can actually verify, and that's I mean that's still in preprint. That hasn't even been reviewed yet. Is electric spin. So the electron spin. But outside of that, they haven't been able to test with any validity that quantum the quantum realm has any significant effect on either uh, the default network and or um, the what is it microtubules. So they, it's real early. Some people are speculating, but it's really theoretical right now. What I wouldn't count on anything you read right now as being testable and verifiable.
You got
Did y'all hear
anything to
me?
respond to that, Fetty? Who was saying, "Can y'all hear me?"
I asked, did y'all hear what I in response? What
I
was you
heard you.
saying?
I heard you. We heard you.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, it was a paper that came out in 2014 that was talking about.
Yeah, they talking about it, but like I said, they haven't been able to actually. What you talking about? I forgot the dude's name. What's that dude's name? Yeah, but they haven't been able to really test or verify that it actually has any effect on the brain. I mean, on behavior.
And I think when it comes to that whole double slit experiment, I may be wrong. I think, although it may be possible in the future, like you say, this is kind of a new frontier that we're talking about amongst scientists and stuff like that. But I do think these deeper conversations regarding microtubules in the brain, quantum functions, can um, give a better idea in regards to what we do as human beings, in regards to choices we make, culture, religion, even like I'ma always say it. I'm not an advocate for drugs, but when I was in high school, I took 8 grams of magic shrooms, and that shit changed
Changed
my
your
whole
life.
perspective on a lot of shit. Even though I'm not advocating for it, but
I need Sosa up here to speak on the one book that we want to do. But go
yeah,
ahead.
but it was a lot of fractal.
You had a
It,
time, didn't you?
it was yeah, but like at the same time, I didn't use it irresponsibly. I
Right,
also
right, right. I get that.
as a scientist, and I think scientists should like a person like Neil deGrasse, if he took a little bit of that, he may have a new perspective and he could draw something up based on
um,
his knowledge.
I don't think he needs to. There's already. Let me find his name real quick. If somebody can find that book and name before I can, by all means, jump
Sam
in.
Harris.
No, I'm finna find it. What is it? My wish list. Where is he? Dr. Carl L. Hart. Remember, Sosa
Okay.
spoke about him. I know about him, but his book he has is drug use for grown-ups, and he talks about his own experiences in microdosing heroin at that. And he's a professor at an Ivy League, and
That's interesting.
he talks about some things. So I think that was actually one of the things that pseudo killer spoke on as to us wanting to actually get that book and deal with that book like we do all others, and have our intellectual intelligent conversations off of that.
Yeah. Well,
I
and I
think
also I also saw a brother at MIT currently. He has a YouTube channel and he's
Mhm.
making correlation between microtubules, water clusters on certain
Okay,
objects in
what's
the
his name?
cosmos. Hold on, let me look for it real
Because I
quick.
want
Oh,
that.
I remember the guy's name. His name is Roger Penrose.
Yeah,
That's
he
it,
nice
Roger
with it.
Penrose.
He nice with it.
He's the one who, but yeah, but none of his stuff has been actually verifiable yet. So
Right. Yeah, I'm not
it's
dealing
one
in
of
the
those
realm
things.
of fact. Yeah, just these are just
Theor-
thoughts that I
theoret-
have.
theor- theor- theoretical physicist, right? Roger Penrose,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
like the other guy, Craig, what's his name? Sean Carroll.
Mm.
These are theoretical physicists. They crunch numbers. They come up with ideas, hypotheses. They speculate. They philosophize. They take us into the what if realms, right? But none of what they say is substantiated within the realm of empirical data.
Is that correlated to like Schrodinger's cat theory as well? Does that fall under that category?
No. Schrodinger's cat is a thought experiment to explain to the layman what superposition actually entails. So it's a layman's explanation. If we understand what a thought experiment is, we would understand the concept of superposition within the category or the study of quantum mechanics and quantum. physics. What it's
Gotcha.
saying is, you put a cat in a box. You don't know if the cat is dead or alive. The cat can be either dead or alive. You don't know until you open that box. So the cat is both dead and alive at the same time. You have no idea until you actually open the box. So, and it is saying that until you actually do the measurement, exercise the measurement, you have no, you cannot actually pinpoint where a particle is going to be within a parameter. So there is a defined parameter. Within that defined parameter, the particle can be anywhere within this defined parameter. Until you actually conduct the measurement, you're going to know where the particle is. Until that time, it is in superposition. It is in all the position equally at the same time.
Gotcha. Would you agree that there are scholars who are basically going not going against each other, but certain scholars who may approve of the general relativity, Einstein and other people who are trying to look into mechanisms and functions that can be explained, I guess, beyond space time? I hear a lot of scientists talk about that.
The foundation of science again is to try and discredit the science that exists. So I can
Yeah.
imagine that there's always experiments trying to prove the Einstein theory of relativity wrong or flawed or add on to it. That those experiments always exist. And again, that's also a realm of the theoretical science, physicists, where things like string theory and the likes are discussed. Again, these theories are built up of actual the actual data and science that we have today. So they are very quite plausible. However, they're still hypothetical. So there's really nothing factual that we can make about those kind of claims.
I don't
Gotcha. Appreciate
I
that.
don't mean to interject, but I can interject real quick because I feel like there is some confusion in the chat. So I'll repeat it. Pseudo killers talked about perhaps discussing. His name's Dr. Carl L. Hart. He is indeed a black man. He's also an Ivy League professor. You all can Google him. He has a book called Drug Use for Grown-ups. Please go also Google it and see what that book is about. We talked about discussing that book, discussing the implications, legalities, and all those things. And again, as a criminologist, there's some of those implications I actually agree with, especially when you look at other countries. But that's not the conversation. But please don't get it confused that we're sitting up here telling people it's okay to use drugs.
But look, this is what interesting as well. I heard in
Yeah, we're just. I
California.
mean, but I mean that's not for you, Fetty. I was trying to deal with the confusion
Oh yeah, but
in the
Wow.
even
chat
in
because people
California,
are.
they're actually administering, by experts, actually microdosing for certain African American communities dealing with trauma and things of that nature. So,
But
actually, go ahead.
that yeah, but there's some implications to that, and I mean that's another show. But we can go in how they have clean needle programs. They have houses in certain cities where you can go to and you can do your drugs in a clean, safe environment. So I mean, though
No,
it's
I'm
a
saying like
lot of
microdosing psilocybin. I think in the future,
mushrooms.
yeah,
Yeah,
with studies, I think it doesn't really, what I'm saying? Like, I think in the future, that will be a new way for people to combat mental illness. Of course, it's going to be
sure.
administered.
They're doing that work in Europe. Have been doing it for years. It just
Okay,
doesn't
okay.
include mushrooms or so I can't say that word. You said it, but it also includes
Psilocybin.
ecstasy. You feel me? So yeah, I feel you, Elder Bitterman. You don't get it, but this is also a conversation being had in science.
Yeah, for
We're
sure.
pseudo killers. We deal with scientific information, and a lot of times, scientific information is not going to be comfortable for the layman or the whole of the public because they don't understand, the whole conversation. Y'all grabbed onto one thing and y'all flew with it. So I just want to clear that up. But no big deal. You're free to go and come as you please. This isn't an echo chamber, and that's just that. But yeah, I'm actually curious, and that was also a book that Sosa suggested, and I'm curious on us reading and maybe perhaps discussing that, because I think that can get real deep. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, and just kind of clear up some confusion about what is really being said, and especially in the academic or the scientific world. But let's
Hey,
get back to
can I ask Logic a question?
sure.
Is
Go ahead.
Logic still on?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
He's
brother Logic. Like I said, I thought you did a good job, and I just wanted clarification on because you know the Dr. Andy was talking about neuroscience with regards to not having free will, as if it were a scientific certainty, and you gave him some pushback, and like I said, I think he kind of sat down a little bit on it. From what you understand, how do you classify this discussion more as a scientific or philosophical discussion at this point, from your understanding, Logic?
I think it's a philosophical conversation that we are attempting to use science to solve. And from what I understand, it science hasn't solved it. And most of the reason why they haven't solved it is because of limitations on measuring. The tools limit them from being able to say definitively a lot of these things. So that's where I understand the conversation to be, right? So I heard his explanation. I defer to the experts, but from what I can research, it's either position
Well,
is based off
he
incomplete
kind of gave
evidence.
us he kind of gave us a clue when he said that when he speaks about it in certain environments, I don't know if he said he gets laughed out of the building, but he says they don't pay attention to him.
Yeah,
So
he
that
said
kind
he
of
said
gives
he
us a
presented
clue.
it to some behavior specialists and they wasn't going for it. That's what he said.
Okay, so
Can I give a little pushback? And I'm going to paraphrase what the good doctor said. He said, at this point, we have enough empirical data to substantiate determinism and say that there is no free will. The argument has now been shifted. It is on those who contend that there is such thing as a compatibilism need to demonstrate it. This is what was said. So at this point, we understand. And during the discussion, he continued to refer to the empirical data to substantiate determinism versus the philosophical standpoint of compatibilism. And he's going to remain on compatibilism because logic clearly refused or stepped away from the definition of free will, which would lead to libertarianism, right? So we're staying in the realm of compatibilism. And he clearly stated that when talking about compatibilism, he referred to that as a philosophical position. When referring to determinism, he referred to that within the realm of empirical data. So the distinction was being made clearly by the doctor every time he spoke.
I
So
mean,
I
I,
don't
I,
know if
is
I
that
get
the
what you
understanding?
said,
Is
but
that the
so that's
understanding you
exactly
got,
what I'm
Logic?
saying
wait
is
a
that
minute, one at a
he
time.
he was making a couple definitive statements, and some of that absolutely was not based on a consensus, right? And I mean, I got to listen to what he says, but I mean, I've definitely read that it's not a part of the consensus, right? When you say you're using empirical data, you're saying that there's definitive evidence to say one thing or the other, but there's still yet no consensus on it, right? Like
science again. Science
it's
doesn't speak in absolutes, and this is a statement he also said. Now, science never speaks in absolutes. However, there's enough empirical data to support the position of determinism, right? Even within the branch of neuroscience of neuroscience.
I mean,
So
I'm
the
getting what you're
position is
saying. Hold
now
up, said
the
you be going
position is
long,
now
bro.
shifted. The
Let
position
him
is now
finish,
shifted
please.
to
Listen.
those who still hold the position
I
of
heard him. You're
compatibilism.
reiterating
So
yourself.
now, so
Let him
now, so
finish.
now, if you understood that, how can you make the statement you just made?
Because part of the evidence he's using is the Benjamin Libet experiment, and the Benjamin Libet experiment has definitely been under a lot of scrutiny, and there is no definitive answer to the results of the Benjamin Libet experiment.
Okay, again, there's enough. there's enough evidence to support the position of determinism. No conclusion,
Okay.
no definitive was mentioned. Number two, it is
Cedric,
now on those who hold the position of compatibilism to present their evidence supporting their position. That was clearly. Now you say definitive. So
no,
no,
Cedric.
no, like
No, Cedric.
at no point was that the
No,
position. There
Cedric.
is enough
That doctor,
evidence,
no, Cedric. That doctor
right?
was not as assertive as you are.
Yeah,
That doctor
you're
was when
being
I'm
logic,
yeah,
repeating.
when
you're
I'm
logic
doubling
spoke
down
repeating.
way
to
harder
him,
I'm
than he
when
did.
repeating
logic
But
spoke
exactly
to
what
I
the
heard
him,
what
doctor
I
said.
heard
when
what he said
logic
about
spoke
the
to him,
Okay,
onus.
he
good.
was not
So
as
now,
assertive
at
as
which
you
point
are,
did he
Cedric.
say? At which point did the doctor say we have conclusive, definitive evidence? And when you asked that
He
question,
did
he
not.
said we
You
we
just
Not
don't.
when logic
contradicted
We,
asked
yourself,
him. He did
sis.
not.
he said we do. We he said in science we don't speak of absolutes. There was never that claim. Furthermore, he's illustrated no. There's enough evidence to support the position of determinism. Now now it's on those that hold the position of compatibilism to show their evidence. So at no point in time was anyone saying there's conclusive, because science doesn't even speak like that. What's
No.
your evidence for compatibilism? That's the
In
question on the
fact,
table now.
In fact, I thought, and Logic can affirm this. I thought when Logic spoke about the experiment he just mentioned, the doctor seemed to say that Logic seemed to know more about that experiment than he did, and he needed to look more into it. Is that correct, Logic?
That's the impression I got from it.
That's the impression I got as well. So again, Cedric is making more of an affirmative assertion on this than even the doctor did, and I'm not sure why.
What is the affirmative position that I took? Let me hear it.
You are
That there's
taking the
enough empirical
affirmative
evidence to support
assertion.
determinism.
Okay,
Yes,
That's a
exactly.
so one experiment is in dispute. One or one
which other one
experiment,
did he bring up?
whatever. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. All the evidence that we have, right, that support determinism, that everything before everything leading up to this moment in time is determined by everything that came before. You're disputing all that evidence. You're saying that there's no evidence there, that there is an insufficient evidence, that causality is not established within the aspect of how the brain operates. That's the position you're taking now, Logic? Is that what you're saying?
Have you looked
Wait.
into
Just
causality,
that's a
yo?
yes or no. That's a yes or no question, Logic.
Have you looked into causality, yo?
I'm done.
You are done. You are
Back to
done,
that. Back to
Cedric.
the
You are done.
experiment,
Like I
though.
said,
No, hold
you're
on, hold on,
speaking.
hold on.
You're
Ganged up
speaking
on
things
you. They
for the
ganged up
doctor
on
that
you,
he did not
sweet
tell
Hold on.
pea.
himself.
Back to the experiment, though. I thought he said that he didn't have enough information on that, though.
That's what
That's
he
the
said.
impression I got from
So
it.
I know. So how is that ever a problem?
Oh man.
Like that's
That's
actually what
Cedric.
you want
And
to hear,
Cedric
though.
is
That's
saying
the.
they have
Let me finish,
Cedric.
though.
Cedric
Let
is
me
saying they have
finish.
conclusive evidence.
Dog, don't do that, bro. Don't do that,
I'm
bro.
sorry. Go ahead.
Right. What he said was he wasn't familiar with it. Logic seemed to be more familiar with that particular experiment than him. What's wrong with that? Expert doesn't mean you know everything about every book, that's craziness right there. I'd rather hear a person be out front with me. I've learned that about experts. They'll simply say they don't know. It could be right in their field or close to it, and they'll say, well, I'm not an expert on that part. Let me correct myself. When they're speaking out of their fields or speaking on something they just don't know about or an experiment, they just say they don't know. On the other hand, the novice will play you. Fake, like y'all faking a little. Y'all pump faking. I can smell it. Y'all faking, right? There's a difference there. And he also said about, I'm not sure which experiment that Robert talked about in his book, about even if it wasn't that, that still wouldn't be enough to prove, you know what I'm saying, that you know what I mean, that determinism wasn't real. Remember he did that? I forget what the logic kind of made a point.
He was quoting out of
Yeah, yeah,
Sapolsky
yeah,
book.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
he was
He
giving
got that real good.
Sapolsky's
Go ahead, jump
opinion
in, Marcus.
at that
Help me out,
point.
Marcus. You
He
clear
was
it out
giving
for me, Marcus.
Sapolsky's opinion at that point.
No. Go ahead, Marcus.
So the limit experiment, right? The question is not about ready action potential. The issue is the conclusion that you draw from what they found. That's what's in dispute.
Correct.
So what was before that was they tried to say that the noise of the machine and the brain that takes place cause some confusions about the actual data points, but that has now been cleared up. So they have subsequent more experiments that say no, ready action potential is a legitimate thing. That does happen. As a matter of fact, I think they up to like 10 seconds now. They can detect this increase in oxygen to neurons that are firing. That's actually what they're monitoring. The question is, what does that represent? Does that really represent a decision being made, or does that represent ready action potential to move? Of course, that is it. But that is that really a decision, or is that the option of weighing to make a decision? And so that's the question of what that represents. And either which way you go, the limit experiment in and of itself is not the core argument for determinism.
And that's all
There's
I was trying
plenty
to
of
say.
other there's plenty other experiments that
Is that
have
what you
nothing
were
to do
trying to
with the
say?
limit. There's plenty of other
Let him go.
experiments that have nothing to do with
Don't
limits
choke him out.
experiment that 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 allude to the point of we need to see what y'all saying when you say compatible. And the issue really comes down to
Mute Cedric, you're
um,
wild.
the issue really comes down to is the assumption from the beginning. And I think that's the point that people tend to overlook. The assumption is that the actions that we have is based upon a will that is free. That was the assumption from the get go, and the evidence shows that that's just not plausible at this time. So then we go to the next stage of the argument. Well, if that's not plausible, then what is? Then what is happening? Then you got two sides. You got some people who say there's enough freedom that exists in action that we can hold people morally responsible, and then you have people who say there's not enough. There is none, and so that's the place of the argument. Don't. The argument is now
I
not.
appreciate that, Marcus.
Yeah, the argument is now not is free will legitimate. That part is already solved. And so if you come and say, well, we got free will, you actually on the outskirts. You really out there with that. The question is, what do we have? What is it that is to be considered? So that's where the conversation is now. Most people, I think most people understand that the light that most people assume that the light we get from the sun is at that moment that we get it. Most people live their lives like that, regardless of the 8 minutes. So I don't think that any of this thing will actually change how people see themselves and the world around them. I think what it can do though is create better policies so that the predictions in your brain are better,
Right.
right? And I think that's the ultimate goal. Um, so that's the point of position. Now, as a hard determinist, I don't think compatibilists will ever be able to prove their point. I think the only thing they can do is just question the neuroscience and the physics that already exists and say, well, that's not enough to prove it for me. I don't think they can actually come up with a test to show a person doing actions without neurons firing. I just don't see that
Is
happening.
is it fair to say from an evolutionary and materialistic standpoint we are hardwired for an illusion?
Hold up, before we move
No,
on
it's
to
safe
another
to say
point.
that you just saying any damn thing.
Yeah, we moving on from another point. He said a lot of really good stuff right there. A lot of really good stuff. Like that was literally like perfectly put, right? Like that. I can't disagree with nothing he said. And if you go back and play and replay the debate or the conversation that we had, I actually never called it free will. I called it voluntary actions, right? So I was very deliberate in not trying to make an argument that our will is completely free. I didn't make that mistake. I understand what I'm saying, right? I wouldn't try to say that we are free from biology, free from these biological processes. We have to be influenced by something, right? And some of that, and that's your external factors, right? I totally understand that. So I would fall under those group of people who feel like we have enough freedom to have our actions judged, right? To where we could have to some degree done otherwise. We could at least weigh the two options and pick one, right? I would say that. That's what I would say. I wouldn't call it free will, right? And I didn't make that mistake in the debate, and I didn't make that mistake when I was talking to Dr. Andy. So yeah, when I was talking about the Libet experiment, it's down to interpretation, and yes, there are two sides, and neither one of them is arguing it. Do we have free will? They're saying exactly what I was trying to say, that we do have something, right? But we wouldn't necessarily call it free will. That's all I was trying to say, and that's difficult to put all into one basket. But Marcus, you said it beautifully, bro. I appreciate it.
As far as the part about illusion, I actually brought it up in Robert Triver's book. It's actually just the way your brain functions and operates, right? It's not. It doesn't actually function and operate for you to see reality. It just doesn't. Your senses are based on you surviving. That's it. And you don't have to know the truth to survive. You don't need to know the truth to pass on your genes. None of that is relevant to the case in the evolution. And so you keep trying to make this thing illusion delusion. You're confused in your understanding of evolution because that's
But
never been the case.
I'm hearing the word illusion a lot. So the question I asked is, are we hardwired for an illusion, one type of illusion or another?
You see, your brain is not. You did not evolve to see reality. That's just it. You didn't evolve to see reality. You didn't evolve to know that the earth is round. You didn't evolve to know how far the sun is. You didn't evolve to know about oxygen or molecules or atoms. You didn't evolve to know about none of that stuff. Absolutely none of it. For a majority of humankind, they didn't even know there was an America, a continent on North and South America. Had no clue. Most of them didn't even know China existed. It just is what it is. That's not how we evolved. And so there are many things that we experience today that we assume to be the real legitimate thing, and it just isn't. And I find it to be okay. Like some people may have a hard time accepting it. Some people may find difficulty in that. I like to like when I say it. I say I know that there's certain chemicals that trigger my affection. You can say towards my loved ones, but that doesn't make it any less powerful that I love them. Like that's two separate things, and I think sometimes we try to blend those two things together, and I think it's just unhealthy. Um, so the bottom line is that deception is a part of evolution, including your brain deceiving you into believing something that is not.
Did you say deception is a part of evolution?
Absolutely.
Well, be careful how you say that. People might take it the wrong way.
Why?
Never mind.
What? Man.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no, but that is my question. Deception. So we are in essence by naturally deceived, and that's the question, and that's what you're saying. So I'm fine with that answer. And
And
so
nobody
that's fine.
saying that, yo. Why you playing like that, yo?
Uh,
I
That's
don't
the most
understand. I
craziest
think
thing
you
ever,
try to
yo.
twist. I think you try to twist my
yeah,
words
Right.
up right there.
Yeah, you play
I'm
too
not
keep
much,
sure.
yo.
doing the
Well, what do you?
same
Well,
Is
thing.
the
well, you tell
earth?
me
Let me
what do
say.
you mean
Let me hold on, yo.
deception is a
You
part of
loud. You
evolution?
loud. Let me say this. Is the earth trying to deceive us because we can't feel it moving? Are there? Is that a proper description of a natural phenomenon?
Well, no,
Answer the
I'm
question.
not
Just
sure. I'm not sure.
simply answer the question.
Is the Earth trying to deceive us?
Yes,
Uh,
because you can't feel it moving. Absolutely, you can't. You can't do it.
right.
You can't feel it. So, is it deceiving us, or
Yeah.
is it part of our evolutionary process as human beings? Think about that, bro.
No,
Why do
but
we
but the but the,
we
but the, but the
perceive?
So
question
if
of but
it's
the
no, hold
question
on.
of free,
So hold on, brother.
but
If it's
the,
no, then it's no to the other thing is not deceiving us. It's part of
Exactly.
our
no,
natural
the question of free will.
processes.
No, the
No,
question of
no,
free
no.
will is
That's why
something
you don't
totally
hold
different
on. You've talked a
from the
lot.
fact that we're
Listen,
feeling the earth
listen,
moving. That's a
listen to the
totally
point I'm
different
making.
subject.
Listen to the point I'm trying to make here. The free will conversation is based off of the development of the brain. It is based off of evolution and thought processes. These things are natural phenomenon. You're looking at it in a religious manner, which is ridiculous. You will never understand it that way. So the question is asked again. The fact that we don't feel the earth moving is the earth trying to trick us, like you continue to
No,
say. No, well, if
no,
it's no for that, then it's no for the other thing.
no.
Simple.
I think that's a false equivalency.
I
Sunshine,
rest my
sunshine,
case. I rest my
sunshine.
case.
Is light trying to deceive us because we perceive the sky to be blue?
No, again, I think that's a false equivalency. I think the question of free will is directly related to our brain and our choices, and I
Our
think we
brain
cannot
is
just
is part of the evolutionary
and
process,
I, and I,
bro. So if you took your
well
time,
well
you would say, you know what, you got me there. And you would move to
well
another trick to get
I'm
us.
well I'm
Oh
sorry it's not
boy.
that I'm sorry it's not that simple for me, and I'd like to make it a little bit
No, it
more.
is that simple. I'm gonna ask you the
No,
question again.
I really
I'm gonna
don't think
ask
it
you the
is.
question
'Cause
one more time, son child. Listen, is the earth trying to trick us when we can't feel it moving? And like Cedric said, is light trying to trick us?
no, but we never use the
Think
word
so. So don't
illusion,
say
or
but.
we never use the word
Don't say but.
illusion.
You can't say
There is a
but.
but.
You're
There,
stuck.
no, you
No, you're
can't.
actually
No, you
stuck.
can't do that.
Son
No, you
child, you're
can't. I'm not
actually
stuck.
stuck right now, child.
No,
Look,
you're
you're stuck.
insisting on have make, or
Okay.
you're
Is your brain
insisting on
did
making
your
me
brain
stuck, but
hold on?
I'm not.
Okay, watch this. Did your brain evolve for thinking? Yes or no?
Yes.
No.
There you go. So that's why it's proper in these types of discussion that you read some material that's non-religious to understand it. You will never understand because you're not listening to the shows for real. You just diving on here, being the super loud antagonist, loud with the mic. And I'm saying you play too much. You come off as being smart and intelligent, but you play way too damn much. Knock it the fuck off, son child, and read something so we can have a great discourse. So I ask you one more time, bro. Is the earth trying to fool us? The natural phenomenon. You know what I'm saying? Like the rotation of the earth is that trying to trick us, son child?
I think you're making a false equivalency.
Oh, answer the question though.
That's my answer.
Okay. You're
Wow.
stuck. You're absolutely stuck.
So okay, so Sunchild, you do realize that Lisa Feldman Barrett is an expert in 7.5 Lessons About the Brain was specifically so we all could understand how the brain evolved and how it functions and what it is actually for. So you telling me all this work we put in and you say the brain was made for thinking? Is that what you're telling us?
When he
Oh
hears
no, the
body
question
buzz.
was well, the
When
question was what did our brain evolve to think? And yeah, I'm pretty sure thinking is a part of the purpose of the brain.
There
Thinking
no,
is
no.
actually a byproduct. Our brain did not evolve to think.
so he doesn't understand the
He
word
doesn't
body budget.
understand. Yo, we have to show empathy for him.
Yeah.
Oh,
When we
so
say body,
thinking,
when we
so
say body
thinking is
budget,
also
Wait,
so
wait, let
so
me
we're thinking
when
by accident. You saying we're
it's
thinking just by
a
accident?
byproduct. That's what I'm saying. Like
Watch him.
we did
Watch
a
What
him.
do you
whole
mean?
Watch him argue from ignorance.
we did a
Watch him have
whole
a
emergent
whole
property.
loud
series
argument from
on
ignorance.
on
And hey, Juju, I actually set the man
All
up
right,
on
yeah, I
purpose
know.
I'm
to
not
put you in
listening.
this
I'm just gonna
position
go. I don't
to
feel what
argue
I'm just
something
gonna
that you
go.
don't
Okay.
even understand,
But no,
Santel.
what I'm
Yeah,
Santel,
saying
I'm
you're
is
just
placed
yeah,
in a
I'm just
maybe
gonna
position
go.
to
I don't like the. I
argue
don't like the
in a
maybe
hostile
maybe
environment.
conversation
I don't
that you
want to. I
don't
don't want to bring
understand,
this kind of
Santel.
energy to the
You should
show.
at
no,
least
wait a
tap
Yeah,
out,
minute.
bro.
listen.
Give me just a
No,
moment.
listen.
All I want to
No, no,
say,
no.
wait,
I
no,
don't want to
listen,
bring this kind of
no,
type of energy to the show. It's a good
please,
show. I don't want to
it's
bring this. I
not,
don't want to
it's
be that
not
dude.
that. All I want to say, this is to you
But
and
you are
anybody
that dude because
listening,
you're arguing from
is
ignorance.
watch the series of The Brain Show. Like, we literally give it to you all.
Juju, let him argue. That way the audience will see that he's willing to argue about anything, even if he doesn't understand it. That's what I'm really trying to stop. When I didn't understand something, I didn't argue about this.
Yeah, you stayed
But you're
quiet on
doing it.
that
I
determinist
stayed
conversation.
quiet.
That's fact. And let me say this real quick. So for people who want to say Cyril kills the echo chamber, we don't want people to think like us. Sunchild is in the Discord. Ronald Perkins is in our Discord. So anybody who's interested in being more involved in these conversations, bringing your 5 cents to the table, we're all for that. We don't mind you disagreeing, just disagree with respect and do not share personal business out of the Discord in public. That's all we ask because, we do that. There are women in there. We like to say that's a safe place for people, including the women, to express themselves. So be mindful of that. And that's pretty much, the only rules we have. So yes, please hit Community of Skeptics email if you would like a link to the Discord, and let's get it in. Sunchal, you don't have to leave, but I just had to add that. That's why we did the show. We did the show because a lot of us, again, it's a prime example that science is counterintuitive. And yes, a lot of us would think that the brain was evolved to think. But when you look at the science and the experts, that's not the facts. So, now we have to change what we think to what it actually is and move forward. And I think you can move forward with better clarity and understanding. That makes everything better. Um, so yeah, I just, I mean, you're not, you look, this is an open conversation. This is the after show. We had a great time with Dr. Andy Thompson of the Dawkins Foundation. I thought it was the Institute, Bobby, but okay.
No, it's that things that
Hey, which show in particular should I watch to get this information on the brain? The purpose of the brain is not to think, or it's just a
the
byproduct. What
damn
show should I
read
watch
the
for that?
book.
It would be like the first 3 shows. I'm not sure which one it is, but it would be towards the beginning, Sunshine. I can't give you the exact show because I think how we did it is like so when one of the chapters was very, very specific, we did that like in 3 shows. Okay. So I think it was like the
You playing with
introductory in the
him.
first
You
chapter.
playing with him. For a smart aleck like you, Sunchild, get the damn book and read it.
Yeah,
Knock it
7.5
off.
lessons. 7.5
What book is that?
lessons. 7.5 lessons about the brain. It's on Audible and Amazon. By Lisa Feldman Barrett.
Lisa Feldman Barrett.
Correct.
It's in
Okay.
the Discord. It's in the Discord
Oh
under
yeah.
her name.
Yeah. Chilimbwe, if you're in the Discord, yeah, you can get free PDFs, and it is in there. I'm sure Chilimbwe will actually just post it for you again. If you can't find it, just talk to him. But yeah. But
Okay. Well, you learn something new every day. The brain's not for thinking. Okay.
no, it really isn't. It's actually I want me to give it away for you. Want me to tell you what it is
Yeah,
for?
I would love to. That's shoot. Yeah, give it away.
It's actually
Huh?
for it's your brain predicts, and it's for managing your body budget. That's what your brain is for.
Your body budget? What do you mean body? What does body budget mean?
Allostasis. That's another important word that we learned about. How to regulate your metabolic systems and different things like that. Just look up allostasis. Yeah, and you'll understand. I'm not gonna mess it up. I'll have to look at notes. I don't pretend to try to remember everything. That's stupid. Yeah, I can't do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but that's what it
Wow.
was. It regulate. It's basically managing allostasis and predicting the
Man, you let him off. You let him off the hook, Juju. The fact is that he was willing to dive in this motherfucker
trying to
and
have
argue about this shit
compassion.
he
He
don't
can't help
understand.
it. I'm just trying to. You remember Dr. Andy talked about having compassion?
No. You have to pick and
You said
choose your compassion.
allostasis, right?
Yes, allostasis.
Allostasis. Yeah, I gotta look that up. And
ALLOSTASIS. if I didn't mess that up. Allostasis. Allostasis.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're the loudest in the building.
Well,
Yo.
when the Dr. Andy was talking about this subject, Ankh was quiet, and all of a sudden he's an expert.
Nope. I mean, Bobby Banger has actually been quiet for the conversation because he's not going to jump
Except
out
for
the
now,
window.
all of a sudden he's an expert now.
But he's no.
I
We have
know.
a better understanding because of the experts. Now, mind you, y'all see a conversation, but Bobby Banger has had the time to have multiple conversations, and Andy Thompson, like Pseudo Killers has built a relationship. So don't get it confused, okay? This conversation didn't come easy to like most of
That's the
us.
baby back.
Huh? What you said, Logic?
My bad. I thought I was on mute.
But I'm telling you, I'm gonna have a social media etiquette class for PK. I'm telling you, that's coming soon, y'all. I just want to let y'all know I'm being funny.
I'm saying, Juju, I was always at an advantage in the conversation though, because
Oh man, go
I'm,
ahead.
I'm telling you, I just understand evolution, so I already
Yeah,
knew,
facts. I get
right?
that.
When y'all made the statement about the brain, I already knew. Now, whether I can actually really comprehend this shit to the point where, like, the man himself said he struggled with it.
Right.
The dude, Robert Pulowski,
Oh,
I know I'm saying
Sapolsky.
Sapolsky said he struggled with it.
He's
Everybody, so
pretty.
that make people right now. Even if you
Everybody
understand evolution, yo,
struggles.
you can't imagine. Like, it's hard for you to imagine a million years. It's hard. It's hard for you to put together some fossils that range. You know what I mean, for millions of years, right?
Yeah.
Like it's hard for you to imagine a fish body having a inside of you, right? Is full of all the things you come from, and it's hard for you to imagine a fish. People can't handle a monkey. You sure as hell can't handle a chimpanzee. You can't see that. Right. So you struggle with these things, bro. So what I'm saying is we all struggle with it, but when you read on the subject, yo, you have more tolerance for understanding the shit. But you're never gonna get it because you don't accept or care to read upon evolution, which will give you a better platform to begin to understand it. You have a religious platform. It will never let you see that. All you know is God works in mysterious ways. Omnipotent, omnipotent, and omnipresence, which gets in the way of anything because God does all the thinking for you. So I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, the premise of this whole discussion, it rests within the realm
Mm.
of the religious and spirituality. It starts within the realm of dualism. And when you understand that discussion, again, you be grounded within the realm of methodological naturalism. We understand that this thing we call consciousness or the mind is an emergent property of the brain, right? And it dismisses the whole notion that these two things are separate. Once that, again, that's why I ground these arguments within the realm of naturalism, and you see where the flaws are within the argument. It says nothing about how we engage with reality, right? We all assume that there is an I. It is within the nomenclature. I did, I that. We separate this thing we call I. Whether we whether whether we understand the mechanisms that are in play or not, it doesn't again subtract from the way we are going to engage with the world based on the evolutionary processes that take place. So understanding one doesn't mean the other. You're still going to perceive the sky as blue, even though you understand that it is the first part of the spectrum that hits the eye, right? You still say the sky is blue, although we know that the sky has no color. It's just the way we engage with the natural world, right? That there's nothing disingenuous, there's nothing fake about it. There's no act. That word, we act. So again, these arguments that you're using, my brother, are flawed.
So you do understand, just based off of what you said, right? That they don't understand all the mechanisms in play. So that should prevent you from then going on to making a statement like, we understand how decisions are made. You get that, right?
Wait a minute. We never said we understand how decisions are made, right? We say we perceive the fact that there are these two things in front of us, and we perceive that we are the one who are going to actively decide. However, and that perception is as if it is separate from. We know it's not separate from, right? It is within the realm of. It is all part of determinism. There is no separate thing that is taking place. So the conceptualization, the philosophical notion of compatibilism, which states there is determinism and free will next to each other. Again, free will comes out of the notion of dualism, that there is separate. That doesn't exist. So we operate, quote unquote, under the illusion of this thing as if it is compatibilism, which it actually isn't, because that isn't within the scope of what is taking place. There is no
Yes,
independent
that's
agents.
where you start to do it. When you say this isn't, that's when you begin. That's when you imply that you understand the mechanisms. Right there.
No, what I'm saying, we are inferring based on understanding naturalism. It is going to be within the realm of the natural processes of the brain. However you come to that, however you want to put it, right? I'm saying I don't know. So I'm gonna do the naturalism thing, which eliminates the notion that starts all the way up there with dualism. There is no independent anything taking place. That is a hard fact. You, you, you now, because of exactly what Dr. Andy said, we have enough evidence to substantiate determinism. Now, the compatibilists will need to show this free thing happening. It's on you.
You didn't just hear Marcus say some do and some feel like they do, some feel like they don't.
No, no,
Like
no,
that's
no.
the
It's
accurate way to say it, Joe.
it is on the compatibilist to show this mechanism taking place,
All
this
right.
free, independent thing, doing this action, right? Because that is a position. That is not actually what's
I
taking
think
place.
I think this is where my friends say this is where I be giving up in the fight, because I don't want to go back and forth with Cedric, yo. But I know I've been saying that that's the accurate way to say it. I just heard Marcus say the accurate way to say it, and then I'm hearing Cedric say 3 times in a row the inaccurate way to say it. But I mean, you know.
Yeah, here's my problem with the idea of comparing free will to the Earth circling and the sky being blue as the same type of illusion. The sky being blue and the Earth circling don't have repercussions with the criminal justice system and your personal responsibilities in life. So that's why I call it false equivalencies, and I really have an issue with y'all making these assertions as if it's just such a simple thing that you're saying. These ideas that we do not have free will. This is something a lot deeper with a lot greater repercussions than just, oh, the sky really isn't blue. Think of it that way. No, we can't just. You cannot simplify it like that and think it's okay.
Is that
This is actually talking about people having illusions and delusions, and I even heard somebody on the chat ask the doctor about if people's brains need to be fixed. I mean,
did you listen?
fixed.
Did you listen to anything that the doctor said? He said that this is the emotional argument
Yeah,
that
I did listen to what the
compatibilists
doctor's saying. He's not saying what you're saying, Cedric.
that compatibilists create because of the consequences. It says nothing about the position itself. It's just an emotional based argument. Oh, it couldn't be the case because of consequences. This isn't how you do science, my friend. Like
Yeah.
did you listen to what the doctor said? How do you
Yeah,
come
and he
back
didn't
and
say,
make
and he didn't
and
say
make
what you're
and make
saying. You're
and
saying
make the
something else.
very
You got
same
you got your
emotional
own you
argument?
got your own agenda. The doctor was
And
more honest than you're being.
if you say that, that's fine. Again, I'm reiterating what the doctor said. Then they go and make
No,
this
you're not.
emotional arg this emotional. emotional argument about consequences if this is not the case. This is what the compatibilists do. This doesn't substantiate their position.
Well, I don't know. You like to make these straight delineations of black and white between compatibilists and determinists, and it's just not that. It's just not. There's a great gray area that you're leaving out. And again,
I'm gonna repeat what the doctor said again. It's on you now to substantiate your position. There is enough evidence to
I don't remember
support
the doctor saying that.
And I would
determinism.
have to repeat what Marcus said. That some feel
Well,
like there is, and some feel like there's not. There is no
You're making stuff up.
definitive
You're making
position
stuff
so
up,
that
Cedric.
again,
all of them
again,
believe in.
again, again, again. But the part where it's on you now to substantiate your position.
That's
Like
Sapolsky's opinion, yo.
what 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 what
When
is
Dr.
there to
Thompson took it to the
what is
behavioral
there
professionals, they
to
said no.
support the compatibilist position? What
When
is there?
when he when he took
Consequence if there's nothing, if
when
that
he
is
took
not the
that
case.
well-formed argument in there to the other professionals, they said no.
Okay, good. I'm asking a simple question. Can I ask a simple question and get a straight answer? What is the evidence supporting compatibilism?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm going to jump in there and
Yeah, hold on.
say,
He didn't say that the other
please.
professionals said no. What he said was they don't hold those conversations. They're not even talking about it. That's actually what he said. He said he went there and presented it to them, and they wasn't feeling the conversation. Like they not having those conversations. And he went on to say that he goes in these rooms and they don't hold these conversations, which is why he was so ecstatic that we held those conversations because in the professional field that he's in, they don't really talk about hard determinism and compatibilism, um, in the specific field that he's in. So that's not the same
Yeah,
thing as saying that
that's
they
exactly what
disagree
he
with it.
said.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's not the same. That's not the same thing as saying they disagree with it. No, I don't want to
that's
misconstrue
facts.
his words.
And that's why he thanked pseudo killers for doing so. Marcus Chilumwe, you got to speak more. The chat has voted, and now wait to the very end because you know what? It's the end, my friend. We almost had 2.5 hours for the show, so I want to give everybody else to say their final words, and you already know how Juju about to do, about to hit that button, and we'll see y'all another time, like Wednesday. Catch us Wednesday. We'll be doing our second show on Death of Expertise by Tom Nichols. That is the source material, led by Bobby Banger. The first show was fire. So we're going to make sure that this next show is going to be equally as intriguing. So please join us for that. And also join us back on Thursday for our Galaxy and Beyond. We're going to do a nice show on safety and everything you need to know to get prepared for April 8th eclipse. And then hopefully, tentatively, and it will happen, 99% for sure it'll happen if it's just me and the Black Widow, but we will be doing our International Women's or Women's History Month tribute on the 30th. So look forward to that. Make sure you all like and share this show and others. Sunchild, go check out our brain shows, please, and get the book. The book was pretty awesome. And yeah, make sure you subscribe so you can get those notifications. But Chilimwe, now I'm gonna save you for last. Go ahead, said. This is final comments and no
Great,
back and forth. This is final
great,
comments. Oh, we'll
great
do
show as
another show.
always. Great show as always. I appreciate the expert coming on there and clearing up some things and making it a lot more digestible for all of us. It's a good show to go back and reference. As always, join the pseudo killers as we continue to move the bar and have these great conversations in the community. Of course, Juju, awesome host, and I'm looking forward to the next range, to the next Galaxy show.
All right, thank you. You're
You're
always
welcome.
welcome to come hit the panel.
Yeah, no, I know that's my guilty pleasure. I'm not even in the chat. I just have the show on. I'm sitting there and I'm learning. I'm just
No,
let me learn. I'm just learning. That
that's
that
why
that's
I do your thing.
that's my
No pressure.
that's my learning. That's my learning show. I love it.
Um, Sunchild, I'm gonna let you go next.
Yeah, all I'm gonna say is it was a really good show. I really
Mhm.
appreciate Logic and the pushback that he gave. I thought he did a good job. And the only thing I would say is that it just seems ironic to me that we're told to embrace our scientific illusions and delusions, but as far as religious delusions and illusions, not so
No,
much.
you're funny, boy. You're funny. Yo, you're
I'm
hilarious.
just saying, yo.
Oh my god. Go ahead, Logic. Go ahead. I'm not playing with
I'm
Sunchild
gonna be
today.
real quick with mine. I just really appreciate it, and I understood very well what Marcus was saying, and I feel like that's what I've been trying to say the whole time. I'm not sure. I don't think we ever agreed as much as we agreed when he made that statement, right? So, but I like where we're at, and it's a difficult conversation to understand. It's I enjoy the conversation. Did a lot of research to make that conversation happen, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, I really hope that maybe we can get Andy Thompson back on some more and ask him some more good questions. But it's this was fun. I appreciate it. Everybody being a part of it, and it was cool. Thank y'all.
Yep. Black Widow.
Yeah, I enjoyed today's festivities and congratulations again to Logic and Marcus for bringing such a great intellectual discussion
Facts.
to the community. That's really very much appreciated. And that's all. Just thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday evening and a great work week coming up.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just fine. I don't want to leave
No,
Marcus out. Marcus out. You did a
no,
great job as well,
Oh
Marcus. Thank
Lord.
you. You did a great job as well.
no.
Sunchild, Sunchild, you can't do that. You can't be coming
I'm
after
sorry. I just want. I
black
thought I
people.
was being rude to Marcus. Marcus did a good job as well. Thank you.
Okay. And Market, Chilemwe. Um, the chat wants to hear more of you. So if you can be more vocal, if you can, but don't push that because we understand. We understand why you're probably not. That's what I will say, and that's nobody else's business unless you share that. But go ahead, Marcus, your final word.
Yeah, I think the show and the after show went very well. Uh, as always, I appreciate the chat and this engagement. I'm ecstatic that I put it in Discord, but I'm ecstatic that um, we had already kind of primed everyone for this
Mhm.
type of conversation with the expert by
Right.
doing the brain show, by holding these other conversations. It's fascinating, and there's so much more information that we haven't tapped into, and there's so much more information that just isn't quite known yet. But they're hopeful that as technology advances, as computations advance, we'll be able to do and know so much more. Again, I said on the show with Dr. Andy that while I don't think that everyone will all of a sudden change and now become determinists, I do believe that it is possible to make better laws,
Right.
create better situations that will breed better opportunities for your brain to predict better outcomes. And I think that's very important. Um, and so that's the point that I wanted to make. You can look forward to a lot of things coming from the pseudo killers as a whole. We're planning on, well, Bobby already said he's planning on um, going talking about the abos and their conversation, which is definitely needed. Um, I'm planning on doing something on just history in and of itself, understanding some concepts with Black history here in America, some misconceptions that I've been hearing around, and of course we'll be doing the Galaxy and Beyond, in which I'm a proud student of Juju and Big Ant Dog, And of course, we'll be doing more on the Brain Show, having guests come in, dealing with specific topics and things like that, that is not only pertinent to us as pseudokillers, but to the community as a whole. We want to touch on subjects that have to do with wholeness and completeness and some issues that are prevalent in the Black community and that need to be addressed. And maybe we can just touch on some subjects and clear up some misconceptions and get some help for some people. So that's it. I want to leave with my normal saying, um, the truth has no defense against a fool determined to believe a lie. Um, I would encourage everyone to just take 5, 10, 15 minutes out of your day to read. Um, we talked about the brain. We rarely talk about the effects of reading on the brain, but the studies are very clear, um, especially if you read consistently, that you build, as Logic say, he likes to talk about cognitive control. When you read, you're able to strengthen neurological connections. We call them synapses. And as you build more synapses, you're able to function at a higher degree, especially when it comes to decision making and inhibitory control. So I encourage everybody to just take the time out to read, even if it's just 5 to 15 minutes a day. It'll do you some good. So that's it. Peace out, y'all.
Peace.
Yeah, it's DQ, baby. Pseudo killers, what up? What up? What up? Check. Tapping in, what's the subject? Evolution or revolution, we ain't done yet. Laying flat like Sanchez, this a bomb threat. I know my flow like Angozi. Source up and show me, homie. You shut up and mute up a moment. The mad scientist, I'm knowing all the components. We own it, and we gon' off it if it's pseudo. You do know we don't entertain that keyboard judo. That big body banger out of Baltimore. Done it all, shopper folks. Sold a little something, but I taught you more than your average teacher. I had to reach you at your level to bring you up. No devil can never beat you. With precision of a magi, the information supplied by some guys get debunked online. CK and Juju, I chill in the cut. But if you boys wanna fade, then I'm chefing you up. I organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Kudos, who those niggas? Decorated pseudo killers. Space sage Africans, back again. An organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Kudos, who those niggas? Decorated pseudo killers. Space sage Africans, tapping in. I always been fly, that's an actual omen. You can catch me in the sky, ask Anthony Bowman. You see me with his telescope, I was actually floating off some good kush. The Sadio is actually growing. See, Gullah Gullah and Kent is where the money gets spent. Them boys got some books that cost as much as you rent. The second verse should be smashed Rockwell, but I rock well. Underground like Sumerian Rockwells. In the ring like I'm the rock whale. Hell, create a different wave that can rock whales. Hell, shit swell like lunar tides. Buying tundras off Gandra to who describe. Euthanize foolish guys. Scholastically, haphazardly. Turn your camera on and look me in my eyes. And please do subscribe. 8 to 80, blind, cripple, or crazy. You in for a new surprise. It's DQ, a organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Kudos, who those niggas? Decorated pseudo killers. Space sage Africans, back again. An organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Kudos, who those niggas? Decorated pseudo killers. Space sage Africans, tapping in.